بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
We are actually in the middle of the second group of Makki Madani Surahs. As you must recall that I have told you that just like 7 Ahzab or 7 Manazil, 7 parts of the Quran divided nearly equally, so as to enable a person to recite one part, one hizb daily, to complete the recitation of the whole of the Quran in every week. So there are surahs, If we leave aside Surah Al-Fatiha, which is a preface to the whole of the Quran, 3 surahs, Al-Baqarah, Al-Imran, Al-Nisa, they make first manzil or first hizb, then 5, then 7, then 9, then 11, then 13, and then 65 surahs. So these are very well known, and they were known in the days of the Prophet ﷺ and in the days of the companions of the Prophet radiyallahu ta'ala anhum ajma'in also. But very lately, some scholars have found, and just their minds, they were diverted toward this fact. The fact already was there, but nobody about it thought that this phenomenon, that Quran has some surahs which are Makki, then some which are Madani, then again which are Makki, then again Madani, then again Makki, and then again Madani, so on. This way also Quran has 7 groups of surahs. Every group has 1 or more surahs in the beginning, and it ends with 1 or more surahs which are Madani. In the beginning Makki, and then they end with Madanis. So in the first group that we completed, the Makki surah was only 1, Surah Al-Fatiha. Although it's 1, it's very small, but it's very great in itself. Ummul Kitab, the mother of the book, the root of the book. And this 1 surah, this is the Makki in this group. And then we have 4 very long, very big Madani surahs. Surah Al-Baqarah, Surah Al-Imran, Surah Al-Nisa, Surah Al-Ma'idah. Then we have a balanced group. 2 Makki surahs, 2 Madani surahs. No, first group was not balanced. Only 1 very small, at least as far as its size is concerned, it's very small, 7 ayat, and that's all. 1 very small Makki surah and 4 very large, rather the largest Madani surahs, comprising more than 6 parts of the Quran, 6 1/4. So, but the second group is very balanced. It contains 2 surahs which are Makki, which we completed, Surah Al-An'am and Surah Al-Araf. And then 2 surahs which are Madani. The first of them is this Surah Anfaal, we are beginning today, and the second will be Surah Al-Tawbah. So this is the second group. Now what is the main theme of this group? Taken as a whole, this group, the Makki surahs were addressing the pagan Arabs of the Arabian Peninsula, basically. We find very seldom reference to the people of the book, to the Jews, to the Christians. Basically, all the discourses are addressed to the pagans, the idolaters, who thought that they were following Ibrahim ﷺ, while actually they had distorted all the teachings of Ibrahim ﷺ. But they claim that they are following Ibrahim ﷺ. So Surah Al-An'am discusses it and very clearly brings out what was the real teaching of Ibrahim. Inni wajjahtu wajhiya lilladhi fatara as-samawati wal-arda hanifan wa ma ana min al-mushrikeen. So that was the teaching of Ibrahim, and that was the millah of Ibrahim, that was the creed of Ibrahim. Then in the second surah, we find the threat that has intensified. What happened to so many other nations which were there in this very part of the region of the world in which you are inhabiting now? You must remember what happened to the people of the Nuh. Our messenger came to him, they rejected, and then they were destroyed. What happened to Ad, a very great nation of the Arabian Peninsula? What happened to them? We sent a messenger, Hud alayhi salatu wasalam, they rejected, and they were also exterminated. And what happened to Samud? They were also a very big civilization of the Arabian Peninsula. You know them. What happened to them? We sent to them our messenger, Salih, alayhi salatu wassalam. They rejected. What happened? They were destroyed. In the same way, what happened to those two cities, great cities, Sodom and Gomorrah, to whom we sent Hazrat Lut alayhi salatu wassalam? They rejected and they were destroyed, annihilated. No trace of the two cities is found. Both of the cities, they just plunged in the Dead Sea, and I think that is why that sea is called Dead Sea. They were situated on the coast of that Dead Sea, and they were just drowned in that. Then what happened to the Madian or Midian? You have seen what happened to Pharaoh. Such a big emperor, and his chieftains, they were drowned. So now this end will come to you also if you reject our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So that is the essence of the two Makki surahs included in this group. Now these two surahs, which are Madani, included in this group, very noteworthy is the point that the first of them, Surah Anfaal, it was revealed in the second year after Hijrah, just after Ghazwa Badr, Battle of Badr. The other one, Surah Tawbah, this was revealed much later. Only two sections, some ayat, they were revealed in the 8th year after Hijrah. But most of it was revealed in the 9th year after Hijrah. Mostly in the middle of that year, Rajab, Shaban, Ramadan, Shawwal. And some are very important ayat, they were revealed in the end of the 9th year of Hijrah. So why have they been brought together with such a vast difference in the time of their revelation? The point is that in the first surah, we find the first installment of the punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala coming to Quraysh of Makkah. They were taken out from Makkah, and 70 of them, mostly the chiefs of different clans and houses, they lay there dead in the plain of Badr. That was the first installment. The form of punishment that has been changing. What happened to people of Nuh? The whole nation destroyed. People of Hud, whole nation destroyed. People of Samud, whole nation destroyed. But what happened about Pharaoh? Not the whole nation. Pharaoh and his army, taken out from their palaces and taken out from their towns, drowned in the ocean. In the same way, the chiefs of Quraysh were taken out from Makkah, and most of them, they laid there, killed and slain in the plain of Badr. So that was the first installment, a very big punishment. Then the last punishment, that came in the 9th year. The biggest humiliation, when the command came from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, فَإِذَنْ صَلَقَ الْأَشْهُرُ الْحُرُمُ فَاقْتُلُوا الْمُشْرِكِينَ حَيْثُ وَجَدتُّمُوهُمْ. They will all be slain, they will all be killed. If they now, within 4 months, this is the only limit, that's the final ultimatum. If they don't accept Islam, they will all be eliminated and exterminated. So that was the biggest humiliation which came to these people who were very arrogant and very haughty. So both these surahs actually, they are depicting the end of that great nation Quraysh, and the two installments which came to them, the first and the final. That is actually the common point which has joined together these two surahs and then added to those two surahs in which the final call to them was given to embrace Islam, to accept Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So this is the main theme of these 4 surahs, which comprise the second group of Makki Madani surahs. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Yas'alunaka 'anil Anfaal. As I told you, this surah was revealed immediately after the Battle of Badr. And a very important issue arose about the spoils and the booty at battle. Because the Quraysh were defeated badly, 70 of them, they lay killed. So many of them, about 70, they were taken as captives. And very great amount of booty and spoils They were captured by the Muslims. Now what about these spoils? How can they be divided? What is the rule about it? Because this was the first incident. So there was a question. Because in the Arabian custom, they used to say, whosoever has, grabbed something, it belongs to him. Now, what would be the rule in Islam? يَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الْأَنْفَالِ. They are asking you, O Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, about the spoils. What is nafl? Additional thing. We pray first, obligatory. Nafl, which is additional. So what is Anfaal? Because in a battle, victory is the first thing, the real thing. And if you get something, if some booty, some spoil, that is additional. So that is why this term has been used. يَسَلُونَ كَانِ الْأَنْفَالِ قُلِ الْأَنْفَالُ لِلَّهِ وَرَسُولِ. Tell them, all this booty and spoils, they all belong to Allah and His Messenger. First of all, you all wash your hands off. None of you has any right. Very categorical denial. So just leave it alone. Fattaqullah. You must have fear of Allah and regard of Allah. Whatever Allah decides, you must accept it. Waslihu dhata bainakum. And you must keep straight the relations between you. Don't start quarreling about these worldly things and the articles you have got and the spoils and booty. Wati'u Allah wa rasulah. And you keep obeying Allah and His Messenger. In kuntum mu'minin. If you are really mu'min. Now, the following two ayat are very important. Who is the real mu'min? Innamal mu'minuna allazina iza dhukira Allahu wajilat qulubuhum. The real and true mu'mins are those that when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioned or remembered, their hearts tremble in fear. وَإِذَا تُلِيَتْ عَلَيْهِمْ آيَاتُهُ زَادَتْهُمْ إِيمَانًا. And when the revelations from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are recited unto them, it adds to their conviction, adds to their iman, adds to the depth of their real conviction, real iman. وَعَلَىٰ رَبِّهِمْ يَتَوَكَّلُونَ. And they put all their trust and faith in their Lord. Not in the arms or in the number or, worldly things. But they think that everything is in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He can do everything without anything. And if even you have everything, no result will come out unless He, tabaraka wa ta'ala, He decides. Alladhina yuqimuna salah. Another aspect. That was the inner side, the esoteric element of Iman. That there is when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is remembered, their hearts tremble. And when they listen to the ayat of Quran and the revelations of their Lord, it adds to the depth of their iman and depth of their conviction. And what is the outer manifestation? يُقِيمُونَ الصَّلَاةَ وَمِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ يُنْفِقُونَ. They establish prayer. And whatever we have provided them, they spend out of it. Spend out of it for the cause of deen, for the pleasure of Allah. أُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ حَقًّا. They are the true mu'mins. Now this haqiqi mu'min, a mu'min who is really a mu'min, this is a very important place of the Quran which is giving us the prerequisites. What are the prerequisites which you fulfill? Then you can be acknowledged as a true mu'min. But this is only half of it. We shall note that in the end, another aspect of this true iman is given. وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَجَاهَدُوا فِي سَبِيلِهِ وَهَاجَرُوا. And that is the second aspect. And these three aspects will go to make the complete picture of a mu'min. The inner esoteric element and then outer exoteric. There are two. Salah and Psalm, spending in the way of Allah, and other jihad and qital fi sabilillah. So these are the three dimensions. As we have the three dimensions of the space, the length and breadth and the height or the depth. Three-dimensional space. So that is the personality of mu'min, three dimensions of the personality of a mu'min. كَمَا أَخْرَجَكَ رَبُّكَ مِنْ بَيْتِكَ بِالْحَقِّ وَإِنَّ فَرِيقًا مِنَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ لَكَارِهُونَ. Kama. Difference of opinion regarding spoils of war. In the same way, there was a difference of opinion when, O Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, your Lord, your Rabb, made you come out from your home bil haqq, with a definite purpose. When you set out from Medina towards Badr, there was a definite purpose before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What was that purpose? It will be described later on. Bil haqq. Wa inna fariqan min al-mu'minina lakarihun. A group of the believers didn't like it. They were disliking it. They didn't want to go to fight the army and to confront a big army. Yujadilunaka fil haqqi ba'da ma tabayyana. They kept arguing with you. Even after min ba'da ma tabayyana ka'annama yusaquna ila al-mawt wa hum yanzurun. Even after the matter was absolutely made clear. As if they were being driven to death. And they were seeing it. Wa hum yanzurun. There might have been a few people, among them, who were not ready to go to the war. There was a difference of opinion. The Prophet ﷺ, he gathered the Muslims and he told them, O Muslims, an army, a big army, is coming from Mecca, from the south. And there is a caravan coming from the north, Syria. The caravan has very little number of soldiers with it as guards. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has promised me that one of these will be yours. You will definitely get victory over one of these. Now tell me, we should go to the caravan or to the army? That was a very important question. Why? Every commander has to see as to what is the morale of the people, of his soldiers, of his men. So before setting out, to confront the army of Quraysh, the Prophet also ﷺ wanted to know what's the condition of the Muslims. So there were a few, they said, okay, let us go to the caravan. It will be an easy prey. Only a few men guarding it. Then we shall get lot of booty. And even we don't have arms. At least the arms of those 30 or 50 people, we shall capture, and then we shall be in a better position to confront the army. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had some other purpose. The purpose. He wanted to make it clear that Allah is with the Muslims. Although they are few in number. They are 313 only. And most of them are without arms. Only 2 horses, 70 camels. And they have to confront an army of 1,000 people. 300 horses, 700 camels. So Allah wanted to make it a clear sign, a miracle, to make it clear to the whole people of the Arabian Peninsula that Allah is with them because they got their victory in these conditions. So Allah has that purpose. And that could only be served if these believers, they confronted the army in this condition. So, but such people who were not very eager to go towards the army, they wanted to go towards the caravan. So they were going because the decision had been made now collectively. So they had to go. But they were going as if they were being driven to death and they were seeing the death with their eyes. Maybe a few munafiqeen might have been there. وَإِذْ يَعِدُكُمُ اللَّهُ إِحْدَى الطَّائِفَتَيْنِ. And just recall, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was promising with you that one of the 2 parties will be yours. إِحْدَى الطَّائِفَتَيْنِ. One army coming from the south, the other caravan. وَتَوَدُّونَ أَنَّ غَيْرَ ذَاتِ الشَّوْكَةِ تَكُونُ لَكُمْ. And you wanted, wishing that other than the armed one should be yours. Confrontation should be with the caravan. We should go and have it. وَيُرِيدُ اللَّهُ أَن يُحِقَّ الْحَقَّ بِكَلِمَاتِهِ. This is the purpose. And Allah had decided to prove that the truth is the truth. وَيَقْطَعَ دَابِرَ الْكَافِرِينَ. And Allah wanted to cut the roots of these kuffar, these unbelievers, The number 70 of them killed, including Abu Jahl, the most haughty, most proud, most arrogant person of Makkah, and so many others of his type. They were all killed in the battle of Badr. لِيُحِقَّ الْحَقَّ وَيُبْطِلَ الْبَاطِلَ. Again, the same thing more explained. So that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala proves the truth to be the truth and proves the falsehood to be falsehood. وَلَوْ كَرِهَ الْمُجْرِمُونَ. Although these people, these criminals might not like it. إِسْتَسْتَغِيثُونَ رَبَّكُمْ. Just recall when you were calling for the help, praying to Allah for help. فَاسْتَجَابَ لَكُمْ. He responded to you, to your call. You know, the Prophet ﷺ, one night before the Battle of Badr, he made a very long dua, very long prayer, a very long sajda, very long prostration. And you know, he even said these words, "Oh Allah, if these people, these 313, they are killed tomorrow, then there will be none on the surface of the earth remembering you and taking your name." Why? Because I am your last messenger, last prophet. And this is the result of my 15 years hardest work. After 15 years hardest work, I have gathered them. And they are here now. They are killed. When he was prostrating in a small cottage of grass, etc., which was erected in between the two armies, and he was prostrating over there. And Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala was standing as a guard. When the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam quoted these words, he said, "Now that's all. Don't go beyond this, O Prophet, Ya Rasulullah, O Messenger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala." But then the Prophet raised his head with the good tidings of victory, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has promised me the victory. إِسْتَسْتَغِيثُونَ رَبَّكُمْ فَاسْتَجَابَ لَكُمْ أَنِّي مُمِدُّكُمْ بِأَلْفٍ مِنَ الْمَلَائِكَةِ مُرْدِفِينَ. When you were praying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for help, calling upon Him for help, and He responded that I am going to help you with 1,000 angels, coming one after the other. وَمَا جَعَلَهُ اللَّهُ إِلَّا بُشْرًا. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it as a glad tiding for you. وَلِتَطْمَئِنَّ بِهِ قُلُوبُكُمْ. So that your hearts remain at rest. وَمَنْ نَصْرُ إِلَّا مِنْ عِنْدِ اللَّهِ. And there can be no help except from Allah. What does it mean? Even the angels, if they were to be sent, they were to be sent from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But Allah said, I don't even need to send the angels. I can do anything on my own without anything. But I gave you this figure of 1,000 angels so that you feel satisfied that if we have to confront an army of 1,000 people, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is sending for our help 1,000 angels. That was only for your satisfaction that we decided this way. We could do it without sending the angels. But we decided in favor of sending angels and telling you that 1,000 angels will be there on your back to help you so that your hearts are at rest. وَمَا جَعَلَهُ اللَّهُ إِلَّا بُشْرًا وَلِتَطْمَئِنَّ بِهِ قُلُوبُكُمْ وَمَا النَّصْرُ إِلَّا مِنْ عِنْدِ اللَّهِ إِنَّ اللَّهَ عَزِيزٌ حَكِيمٌ. Verily Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Al-Aziz, all-powerful, and Al-Hakim, and He is also all-wise. إِذْ يُغَشِّيكُمُ النُّعَاسَ أَمَنَةً مِّنْهُ. When He caused the slumber overtake you. Now this is a very important sign. The night before Badr, before the battle, the Muslims, they slept very calmly from the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Had they been harboring fears, what will happen tomorrow? They couldn't sleep. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave satisfaction and calmness to their hearts so that they slept very well. When they slept very well, they were fresh in the morning. That is one of the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala which came to the Muslims. إِذْ يُغَشِّيكُمُ النَّاسَ أَمَنَةً مِّنْهُ وَيُنَزِّلُ عَلَيْكُمْ مِنَ السَّمَاءِ مَاءً. And second blessing which came, rain came down. That was the second blessing. لِيُطَهِّرَكُمْ بِهِ وَيُذْهِبَ عَنْكُمْ رِجْزَ الشَّيْطَانِ. So that He purifies you with it. You can make ablutions. You can, if there is a need, you can take the bath. They gather the water of rain in form of a pond. وَيُذْهِبَ عَنْكُمْ رِجْزَ الشَّيْطَانِ. So that He takes away from you the abhorrent things that which are from shaitan. Somebody, for him, it might have become necessary to have a bath. But how could they take a bath if there was no water? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala provided you the water. وَلَيَرْبِطَ عَلَىٰ قُلُوبِكُمْ, and so that He strengthens your hearts. وَيُثَبِّتَ بِهِ الْأَقْدَامِ, and there your feet must be firm. Now because the sandy, this soil, now the sand settled, so that they were also, their feet was firm. إِذْ يُوحِي رَبُّكَ إِلَى الْمَلَائِكَةِ, just recall when your Lord was inspiring and saying to the angels, He was sending the angels, 1,000 angels, go and help the Muslims. But what was the command that He gave? Anni ma'akum, I am with you. Just listen. Even angels couldn't do anything if Allah was not with them. So actually all authority is with Allah. All power is with Allah. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Nobody has anything in His control or command. Even the angels. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling the angels, Inni ma'akum. You go to help my believers and I am with you. فَصَبَّتُ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا, now make firm those who believe. سَأُلْقِي فِي قُلُوبِ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا الرُّعْبَ, I will put and cast terror in the minds of those people, in the hearts of those people who don't believe, who have rejected the faith. فَضْرِبُوا فَوْقَ الْأَعْنَاقِ, so smite and strike over their necks. وَضْرِبُوا مِنْهُمْ كُلَّ بَنَانٍ, and strike and smite every fingertip of them. ذَلِكَ بِأَنَّهُمْ شَاقُّوا اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ, this is because they opposed Allah. They became enemies of Allah and His Messenger. وَمَنْ يُشَاقِقِ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ شَدِيدُ الْعِقَابِ, and whosoever becomes hostile to Allah and His Messenger, then Allah is very swift in giving punishment. He is very severe in giving punishment. Shadidul iqab. Zalikum fazuquh wa anna lil kafirin azaban nar. This is for you. Taste it. Now this is addressing the kuffar, the people of Makkah. This is the first installment which we have given you. 70 of your people, mostly the chiefs, they have been killed. Zalikum fazuquh. Now taste this. وَأَنَّ لِلْكَافِرِينَ عَذَابَ النَّارِ, and this is only the beginning. Actually, for the unbelievers who have rejected the faith, the real punishment is that of fire of hell. يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا إِذَا لَقِيتُمُ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا زَحْفًا, O you who believe, when you meet those who have rejected the faith, rejected Iman, in a battlefield, فَلَا تُوَلُّوهُمُ الْأَدْبَارِ, don't show them and don't turn your backs to them. You must be face to face with them, fight them with courage. Do your last. Not to run away, not to show your backs to them. وَمَنْ يُوَلِّهِمْ يَوْمَئِذٍ دُبُرَهُ, and whosoever turns his back towards them, إِلَّا مُتَحَرِّفًا لِقِتَالٍ, except two things. Number one, if there is some strategy, some strategic move, and due to this strategic, orderly retreat, you are going back. But even then, the backs are not turned, going back. And number two, أَوْ مُتَحَيِّضًا إِلَى فِيَةٍ, or you have to go to meet another group of your own, another contingent of the Muslim army. So one may have to take them back so that both are joined together. These are the two only exceptions in which a mu'min is allowed to retreat from the battlefield as a strategy, or when you have to go and meet and join with other contingent of the Muslim army. And whosoever, except in these two conditions, whosoever turns his back, فَقَدْ بَا بِغَضَبٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ, so he has incurred the wrath of Allah. وَمَأْوَاهُ جَهَنَّمُ وَبِئْسَ الْمَصِيرُ, and his abode will be hell. And that's a very bad destination. فَلَمْ تَقْتُلُوهُمْ, very important ayah. O Muslims, it was not you who killed them. You couldn't kill these 70 people. Armed to their teeth, mounted, so many, more than you in number. فَلَمْ تَقْتُلُوهُمْ وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ قَتَلَهُمْ, it's actually Allah who has killed them. وَمَا رَمَيْتَ إِذْ رَمَيْتَ وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ رَمَى. And O Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, when you threw a handful of dust towards the army of the enemy, actually you didn't throw it, Allah threw it. Why? What does it mean? Don't misinterpret this ayah. What does it mean? Nothing can happen without the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, without the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, without the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But don't think that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would have killed the enemy had the Muslim not come in the field and confronted the enemy. First, the Muslim, the Mu'min, has to do whatever he can do. But he should never think that his own power or his own means, they will be decisive. It's Allah who decides it. So actually, they were the Muslims there. They were fighting. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala helped them. And now he's saying, only your own power, your own strength could not give you this victory. It's from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. فَلَمْ تَقْتُلُوهُ وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ قَتَلَهُ. In the same way when we say that Allah is Raziq. But we are working hard, doing so many things. If we sit, hands folded, then Allah is not going to send us any provision or any risk. But whatever we earn, we say it is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is the fadl of Allah. That is why the earning, this worldly earning, Quran has only used this word kasb, only one place. Otherwise it is fadl. فَإِذَا قُلْيَتْ صَلَاتُ فَانْتَشِرُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ وَابْتَغُوا مِنْ فَضْلِ اللَّهِ. When the Friday prayer is over, you can go about on the earth and you try to search for the fazl of Allah. Whatever you get, although you might have worked, you have worked hard for an hour and you got $10, but you don't think this is your earning. These $10 are fazl of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that is actually the way a mu'min must think. So that is in the same way. We work hard to earn our livelihood, but whatever we get is from Allah. Huwa Raziq. In the same way, you strive to your utmost in the way of Allah. And you are there on the battlefield. You don't spare anything. You don't leave any stone unturned. Do whatever you can do. But when you are confronting the enemy, think that actually only the victory or the result rests in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and none else. فَلَمْ تَقْتُلُوهُ وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ قَتَلَهُ وَمَا رَمَيْتَ إِذْ رَمَيْتَ وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ رَمَى وَلَيُبْلِيَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ مِنْهُ بَلَاءً حَسَنًا. And this was so that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to put the believers to a fine test, so as to bring forth the good in them. Please note here, those who have some understanding of the Arabic language, Bala Yablu in Salasi Mujarrad, it means simple testing. Bala Yablu. And Abla Yubli Iblaan, this is Babu Ifal. This means to put someone to a test so that the good in him comes out and it becomes apparent. Bala Ablas, this is from Abla. Layubli al mu'minin. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put you to this test so that the good in you becomes apparent, comes out. People can see them with their own eyes. What is hidden in you? Inna Allah Samiyun Alim. Verily Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is all hearing, all knowing. Zalikum. This has happened. This victory is yours, O Muslims. This defeat is yours, O the unbelievers of Makkah. وَأَنَّ اللَّهَ مُوهِنُ كَيْدِ الْكَافِرِينَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to weaken all the strategies, all the devisings, all the plans of these unbelievers. Be at rest, O Muslims. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will take care of them afterwards also. In tastaftihu faqad ja'akumul fath. Now this is directed towards the kuffar of Makkah. In tastaftihu faqad ja'akumul fath. If you wanted a decision from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the decision has come. Actually what happened, because Abu Jahl was absolutely confident his victory. 1,000 strong army, wholly prepared, with full provisions. And in those days in Arabia, this was a very unusual phenomenon. People of Quraysh, very brave. Their bravery was acknowledged throughout the Arabian Peninsula, 1,000 of them marching towards Medina. And the intelligence reports must have been there that the Muslims are not more than 300 and they lack the arms and they have nothing with them, nearly armless. So he was so sure of victory. And we shall just finish them. That he said this is going to be Yawm al-Furqan. Al-Furqan means criterion, which discriminates between what is false, what is real, what is good, what is bad, what is right, what is wrong. So he himself said, this is going to be Yawm al-Furqan. Now this day will prove who is on the right path. Because they thought we are on the right path. At least they claimed so. We are on the right path. This is the creed and religion of our forefathers which we are following. They are the people who have left the deen and creed of their forefathers. So they are at fault, not us. So this will prove, this day will be a criterion, day of criterion. This is going to be Yawm al-Furqan. So now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying to the Quraysh of Makkah, In tastaftihu faqad ja'akumul fath. If you wanted a judgment and decision, you have got it. Now it's absolutely clear that Allah is with Muhammad and his companions. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam wa radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. Ain tantahu fahuwa khairul lakum. Now if you stop, if you give up the opposition that you have been making to Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, it is better for you. If you desist in future, it's better for you. Wa in ta'udu, now. And if you again do the same thing, we shall again do the same thing. The same result will come to you. We should also do the same thing. وَلَن تُغْنِيَ عَنْكُمْ فِيَتُكُمْ شَيْئًا وَلَوْ كَثُرَتْ. And your host will avail you nothing, though it may be numerous. Your number might be more than 1,000 or 2,000. It will be of no avail to you. وَأَنَّ اللَّهَ مَعَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. Know it, be it known to you, that Allah is on the side of the believers. He is on the back of the believers. He is with the believers. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu ati'u Allaha wa rasulahu wa la tawallaw anhu wa antum tasma'un. Now these ayat, they are general ayat. Whatever we have read, it had a special context, historical context. Now these are the general teachings of the Quran, and we must understand them fully, and we must think that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is addressing us also. Not only the address was to the people 1400 years before who won this battle against Quraysh. No. For all moments of all times to come. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu ati'u Allaha wa rasulahu wa la tawallaw anhu wa antum tasma'un. O you who believe, obey Allah and His Messenger. Wa la tawallaw anhu. Don't turn away from Him. Wa antum tasma'un. If you are listening. When there is a call from Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when there is a call from the deen of Allah, then you must not turn your backs to it. La tawallaw anhu. You must respond positively. You must say labbaik. وَلَا تَكُونُوا كَالَّذِينَ قَالُوا سَمِعْنَا وَهُمْ لَا يَسْمَعُونَ. Don't be like those who said we have heard and they were not hearing. Now reference to the munafiqeen of Medina who professed to believe in it. They said, okay, we have heard. وَهُمْ لَا يَسْمَعُونَ. Actually they have not heard. Only their ears have heard what the Prophet said. Their hearts couldn't hear what the Prophet said. There was a dichotomy, a distinction. There, these ears and these eyes, they were okay. But the sight and the hearing of the heart and the soul was knocked out. وَلَا تَكُونُوا كَالَّذِينَ قَالُوا سَمِعْنَا وَهُمْ لَا يَسْمَعُونَ. إِنَّ الشَّرَّ الدَّوَابِّ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ الصُّمُّ الْبُكْمُ الَّذِينَ لَا يَعْقِلُونَ. Verily, the worst of the beasts and animals of this world are those people, those human beings, who are deaf and dumb and who don't use their intellect. Although they are seeing, like the seeing of animals. We read the ayah, last night. لَقَدْ زَرَعْنَا لِجَهَنَّمَ كَثِيرًا مِنَ الْجِنِّ وَالْإِنسِ لَهُمْ قُلُوبٌ لَا يَفْقَهُونَ بِهَا وَلَهُمْ أَعْيُنٌ لَا يُبْصِرُونَ بِهَا وَلَهُمْ آذَانٌ لَا يَسْمَعُونَ بِهَا أُولَٰئِكَ كَالْأَنْعَامِ بَلْ هُمْ أَضَلُّ. The same thing repeated here. Inna sharra ad-dawab 'inda Allahi summul bukmul lazina la ya'qilun. Walau alima Allahu fihim khairan la asma'ahum. And had Allah seen them some good, He would have made them hear. Walau asma'ahum la tawallaw. And had He made them hear what the Prophet was saying, la tawallaw wa hum muridun. They would have turned their backs in aversion. Now this was the picture of the munafiqeen, and this disease had started in the community of the Muslims at Medina. Although they were very few still in number, but the disease had started. It was in its first stage, as I told you. This nifaq is a disease. Fi qulubihim maradun fazadahumullahu marada. And this disease was progressing. We have read Surah An-Nisa. Surah An-Nisa was revealed in the 6th year after Hijrah. And that disease had developed and reached its 3rd stage even. But still it was in the early stages. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu istajibu lillahi wa lirrasuli idha da'akum lima yuhyikum. Very beautiful words. Oh, you who believe, respond positively to the call of Allah and His Messenger. Idha da'akum, when they call you, lima yuhyikum, to that which will give you life. You feel if we go to the battlefield, maybe we are killed. Whosoever goes to the battlefield, he risks his life. There is every likelihood that he might be killed. Because when you are going to the battlefield, the possibility is there. But what is this killing? If you are killed in the way of Allah, you get the real life. وَلَا تَقُولُوا لِمَنْ يُقْتَلُ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ أَمْوَاتٌ بَلْ أَحْيَاءٌ وَلَكِنْ لَا تَشْعُرُونَ وَلَا تَحْسَبَنَّ الَّذِينَ قُتِلُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ أَمْوَاتًا. Now these two ayat are already read in Surah Al-Baqarah and Surah Al-Imran. Surah Al-Baqarah was revealed before this Surah Al-Anfaal. Because Surah Al-Baqarah was revealed beginning from just after Hijrah till the Battle of Badr. That was the period in which most of the ayat of Surah Al-Baqarah were revealed. So that ayat was there before the Muslims. So actually this is not that. This is the real life. In the same way, if there is some Islamic dawah, real Islamic call, real Islamic movement, they want you, they call upon you. Spend your time, spend your money. Devote your life to this cause and for this purpose. So actually, this is not giving you any loss. All the benefits will come to you and you will have the spiritual life. You will not be living now as an animal. You will be living now as real human beings. This spiritual life will come to you if you respond positively to the calls of Allah and His Messenger. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu istajibu lillahi wa lirrasuli idha da'akum lima yuhyikum wa'lamu anna Allaha yahulu bayna al-mar'i wa qalbihi. And be it known to you, very important, that Allah comes in between a person and his heart. What does it mean? A call came to you, you rejected it. Then again there was a call, you again rejected it. What will happen? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will withdraw from you the capacity of hearing and responding positively. This law, the culmination of this process is خَتَمَ اللَّهُ عَلَىٰ قُلُوبِهِمْ وَعَلَىٰ سَمْعِهِمْ وَعَلَىٰ أَبْصَارِهِمْ غِشَاوَةٌ. Now the seals are put on the hearts and the hearing. Why? Because you didn't come alam yu'minu bihi awwala marra. We read it in Surah Al-An'am. You know, if something comes to you and your heart testifies it is correct, it is right, it is the truth, you must accept it. Don't delay it. If you delay it, the capacity of acknowledging and comprehending the truth will become less. Second time again, your heart says, okay, this is correct. Respond to it. And you are not still responding. Oh, there might be some loss of property or life. Oh, I might lose my position which I am occupying at this time. I am the leader of my community. How can I accept this? So then that capacity of acknowledging and comprehending the truth becomes more or less. And this process continues till such time that a man reaches the point of no return. Now he cannot come back. If he has reached to that level, then Allah says, خَتَمَ اللَّهُ عَلَىٰ قُلُوبِهِمْ وَعَلَىٰ سَمْعِهِمْ وَعَلَىٰ أَبْصَارِهِمْ غِشَاوَةٌ. And that is which is being referred here, أَنَّ اللَّهَ يَحُولُ بَيْنَ الْمَرْءِ وَقَلْبِهِ. So beware lest this position, this condition should also befall you. وَأَنَّهُ إِلَيْهِ تُحْشَرُونَ. And in the end, you will have to be gathered towards Him. Everybody has to go to Him. وَاتَّقُوا فِتْنَةً لَا تُصِيبَنَّ الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا مِنْكُمْ خَاصَّةً. And you must fear the infliction that will not involve only the evildoers. If a community is doing something wrong, although you are not committing that mistake yourself, but you are also not forbidding them, then when the punishment of Allah comes, you will also be punished. We have read it in Surah Al-A'raf. وَأَنْجَيْنَا الَّذِينَ يَنْهَوْنَ عَنِ السُّوءِ. Only those were saved from those people who broke the law of Sabbath. Only those who were forbidding them from doing it. Those who, although they were not committing that sin themselves, they were not forbidding others from doing it, they were also involved. Because it is abatement. If you are not stopping them, you are with them. You will be included in the punishment. So this is very important. Don't think because I am not doing anything, well, you will not be spared. Only if you have done your best, whatever you could do to stop people doing it. You had spent all your energy, all your time, whatever was possible for you to change the direction of the events. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will spare you. Otherwise you will be included in the people when the punishment comes. وَاتَّقُوا فِتْنَةً لَا تُصِيبَنَّ الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا مِنْكُمْ خَاصَّةً وَاعْلَمُوا أَنَّ اللَّهَ شَدِيدُ الْعِقَابِ. And know it thoroughly, fully well, be it known to you, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is very severe in punishment. وَاسْكُرُوا إِذْ أَنْتُمْ قَلِيلٌ مُسْتَضَعْفُونَ فِي الْأَرْضِ. And just remember, when you were a few in number, and you were oppressed in the land. Now this refers to the Muhajirin from Makkah. At Makkah, you were oppressed, overpowered by the Mushrikeen. وَاسْكُرُوا إِذْ أَنْتُمْ قَلِيلٌ مُسْتَضَعْفُونَ فِي الْأَرْضِ تَخَافُونَ أَنْ يَتَخَطَّفَكُمُ النَّاسُ. And you feared that people will snatch you. فَآوَاكُمْ. Allah gave you refuge. وَأَيَّدَكُمْ بِنَصْرِهِ. And He strengthened you with His help. وَرَزَقَكُمْ مِنَ الطَّيِّبَاتِ. And He provided you with good things. لَعَلَّكُمْ تَشْكُرُونَ. So that you become grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This ayah is 100% applicable to the Muslims of Pakistan. About half a century back, they were fearful of the Hindu domination. What will happen? If the Britishers go, we will be in a minority. We will be at the mercy of the Hindus. They will exploit us. They will finish our identity. They will just absorb us in their own culture. We will be lost. So we pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Oh Allah, save us from the slavery of the Hindus. Give us Pakistan, a land of our own, where we have the authority and the decision making in our own hands. And we shall establish your deen. We shall establish deen of Allah. This was the promise that we made. We feared the Hindu majority. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us Pakistan. Miraculously. No doubt, miraculously. What we have done is just to the contrary. We were not grateful to Allah. We didn't fulfill our promise to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is why a very big installment of Allah's punishment came to us in 1971. And maybe the second one is going to come soon. 25 years had passed. Allah gave us a respite of 25 years. And because we didn't proceed, didn't advance in the way of Allah, towards the deen of Allah, the punishment came. Another 25 years will be completed on the 27th of Ramadan this year. Full 50 years will be completed of the existence of Pakistan. So I am fearing much what will happen. وَاذْكُرُوا إِذْ أَنْتُمْ قَلِيلٌ مُسْتَضْعَفُونَ فِي الْأَرْضِ. Everyone who belongs to Pakistan must read this ayah with this special context in his mind. يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا لَا تَخُونُوا اللَّهَ وَالرَّسُولَ وَتَخُونُوا أَمَانَاتِكُمْ وَأَنْتُمْ تَعْلَمُونَ. O you believe, betray not Allah and His Messenger, and betray not the trust among you also. وَعَلَمُوا أَنَّمَا أَمْوَالُكُمْ وَأَوْلَادُكُمْ فِتْنَةٌ. And be it known to you, be it clear to you, that your belongings, your wealth, and your children, they are but a trial for you. Allah has given you this thing to see what you do with it. Allah has given you sons and daughters to see how you bring them up. You are bringing them up as Muslims, teaching them Islam, or you are only thinking about their worldly futures and careers, spending huge sums for education. What education? The only education, to have a good career, to have a better living, nothing else. Coming over all the way from Pakistan to America to have some degree, so that this degree can be cashed. That's all. No teaching of deen. This is what we are doing. So we are failing in this test. وَعَلَمُوا أَنَّمَا أَمْوَالُكُمْ وَأَوْلَادُكُمْ فِتْنَةٌ. We have given you wealth. What are you doing it? Luxuries, comforts, to show off your wealth. This is how you are using it. So you have failed in the test. This wealth should have been spent for the deen of Allah, for the cause of Allah, to propagate the message of Allah, to establish the deen of Allah. So this is failing us, if this is the real condition. وَعَلَمُوا أَنَّمَا أَمْوَالُكُمْ وَأَوْلَادُكُمْ فِتْنَةٌ وَأَنَّ اللَّهَ عِنْدَهُ أَجْرٌ عَظِيمٌ. And it is only Allah with whom is the great reward. What reward will you get from your own sons or daughters? You invested yourselves in them. What reward can they give you? Maybe they become arrogant. No, father, I am not going to listen to you. You belong to the past generation. You have your own standards. Now the things have changed. The world is different. So please let me alone. And then you'll be rubbing your hands in sorrow. I invested myself wholly and solely in this son of mine. And now, which way is he going? I have no control. So you can't get a reward. But every minute spent for the cause of Allah, every penny spent for the cause of Allah, that will be rewarded. Allah has the best reward. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu in tattaqullaha yaj'al lakum furqana. Oh, you who believe, if you have real taqwa of Allah, He will give you a criterion. Criterion in your hearts, which will tell you what is wrong, what is correct, what is right, what is wrong, what is good, what is bad. The same thing has been given by Prophet ﷺ in some of his hadiths. Istafti qalbak. You must ask your heart. Because this heart, this soul within a moment, if the nature has not been perverted, this human soul is actually a divine spark. It's a divine light. है ज़ौक़ तजल्ली भी इसी खाक में पिन्हा. गाफिल तो निरा साहिब इदराक नहीं है. So actually, you have that spark within you, this heart. This is conscience, your conscience. So now if you have taqwa, this conscience is very active. It will tell you at every place and every time, every minute, this is wrong, this is correct. وَيُكَفِّرْ عَنْكُمْ سَيِّئَاتِكُمْ. And He will acquit you of your bad deeds. If there are any, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will acquit you from them. وَيَغْفِرْ لَكُمْ. And also pardon you and forgive you. وَاللَّهُ ذُو الْفَضْلِ الْعَظِيمِ. And Allah is of infinite bounty. وَإِذْ يَمْكُرُ بِكَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا لَيُثْبِتُوكَ أَوْ يَقْتُلُوكَ أَوْ يُخْرِجُوكَ. And just recall, O Prophet, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, when these unbelievers, these kuffar of Makkah, these chieftains of the different clans of the tribe of Quraysh, they were conspiring. They were having consultation among them. What to do about this menace? According to them, it was the menace. Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and his new deen, which has challenged our old creed and beliefs, everything, our customs, and who is challenging our system. So, how to deal with it? So, there were three alternatives which were discussed. لَيُثْبِتُوكَ, to imprison you, أَوْ يَقْتُلُوكَ, or kill you, slay, أَوْ يُخْرِجُوكَ, or expel you out from their territory. Three alternatives were being thought over, and the final was, which was proposed by Abu Jahl. One young man from every house, from every clan of the tribe of Quraysh, at midnight they should go and they should, attack as one body and kill Muhammad, so that it becomes impossible to say who killed him. At night, so that family of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam will not be able to take the revenge from anybody, because it will be impossible to say who has killed him. وَإِذْ يَمْكُرُ بِكَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا لَيُثْبِتُوكَ أَوْ يَقْتُلُوكَ أَوْ يُخْرِجُوكَ وَيَمْكُرُونَ وَيَمْكُرُ اللَّهُ. They were also planning, and Allah was also planning. وَاللَّهُ خَيْرُ الْمَاكِرِينَ. And Allah is the best of the planners. Their plan went to ruins, and the plan of Allah triumphed. وَإِذَا تُتْلَى عَلَيْهِمْ آيَاتُنَا. Now these are some of the incidents which actually occurred during the Makki period. Now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is only referring to them now here. What was there? Because this incident also, when they were planning and they were consulting each other what to do, how to get rid of this menace according to him. In the same way, وَإِذَا تُتْلَى عَلَيْهِمْ آيَاتُنَا, when our revelations were recited unto them, قَالُوا قَدْ سَمِعْنَا, they used to say, oh, we have heard it. Oh, we have heard it so many times. It's nothing new. لَوْ نَشَاءُ لَقُلْنَا مِثْلَ هَذَا. If we also decide, we can compose such, compositions. Although never dared to accept the challenge of Quran. وَإِن كُنْتُمْ فِي رَيْبٍ مِّمَّا نَزَّلْنَا عَلَىٰ عَبْدِنَا فَأْتُوا بِسُورَةٍ مِّن مِّثْلِهِ. None of them ever dared to accept this challenge and present some composition and claim that this is equal to Quran in its literary beauty. But they could have said so. قَدْ سَمِعْنَا لَوْ نَشَاءُ لَقُلْنَا مِثْلَ هَذَا. We have heard many a time these things. And if we wish, we can also compose such things. In هَذَا إِلَّا أَسَاطِيرُ الْأَوَّلِينَ. It's nothing except the fables and stories of the ancients. وَإِذْ قَالُوا اللَّهُمَّ إِنْ كَانَ هَذَا هُوَ الْحَقَّ مِنْ عِنْدِكَ فَأَمْطِرْ عَلَيْنَا حِجَارَةً مِنَ السَّمَاءِ. And just recall when they used to say, O Allah, O our Lord, if this is the truth from you, what Muhammad is claiming, what Muhammad is saying, if this is really the truth from you, send a rain over us, rain of stones, min as-sama, from the heaven. Why did they say so? I told you, they had to control their common people, which we call today in the current idiom, the silent majority. There are the leaders and the silent majority. Now the silent majority, if it went in favor of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, their position was threatened, undermined. Their position was based on the support from the common people. So they had to convince people that our leaders, they are sincere. They actually don't think that Muhammad is Prophet of Allah. Had they thought it, they would have accepted and they would have the faith. They are sincere because they are saying, "Oh Allah, if it is correct, send down upon us the punishment from the heavens. Send the rain of stones on us." Only to show off to the people that we are absolutely sincere. We do think that it is falsehood which Muhammad is presenting, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Na'udhu billahi min zalik. So that was actually to convince and impress upon the common people. وَإِذْ قَالُوا اللَّهُمَّ إِنْ كَانَ هَذَا هُوَ الْحَقَّ مِنْ عِنْدِكَ فَامْطِرْ عَلَيْنَا حِجَارَةً مِنَ السَّمَاءِ وَائْتِنَا بِعَذَابٍ أَلِيمٍ, or any other form of painful punishment. وَمَا كَانَ اللَّهُ لِيُعَذِّبَهُمْ وَأَنْتَ فِيهِمْ. This is very important ayah. And it was not for Allah, it was not befitting for Allah to send the punishment to them while you were among them. You were still in Makkah. If that rain would have come, you and the Muslims and the Mu'mins at Makkah, they would have also been involved in it. وَمَا كَانَ اللَّهُ مُعَذِّبَهُمْ وَهُمْ يَسْتَغْفِرُونَ. And Allah was not going to punish them when they were asking for His forgiveness. Now, what is the meaning of this? Who were they who were asking the forgiveness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? There are so many opinions. But what I think is that because in Mecca there were Muslims also, although they were not in majority, maybe minority, but quite a big number of the Muslims were there. They were doing istighfar to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They were asking the forgiveness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now what happened? What was the basic difference? In case of Hazrat Nuh alayhi salam, even after 950 years, he couldn't have except a few, very little number of people who came to believe in him. The same story was repeated with Hazrat Hud, the same with Hazrat Saleh. But this was not the case with Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Makkah didn't reject him totally. After all, who was Abu Bakr? Who was Usman? Who was Umar? Who was Hamza? Who was Abdul Rahman ibn Auf? Who was Talha? Who was Zubair? Who was Sa'id ibn Zayd? They were the sons of Makkah and a host of the other Muslims. So it was a mixed reaction, not a total rejection. So that is absolutely different. So in this mixed society, number one, they were also, calling talbiyah. Talbiyah, labbaik Allahumma labbaik, labbaik la sharika laka labbaik. But they added to which some words, illa sharikan tamlikuhu wa ma malak. But they were saying, labbaik la sharika laka labbaik. So actually, that asking for forgiveness, that was among them also. And number two, there were Muslims there who were asking the forgiveness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So unless this was sifted, Muslims were taken out and the unbelievers remained at Makkah. The punishment couldn't come. So that is the meaning of this ayah. وَمَا كَانَ اللَّهُ لِيُعَذِّبَهُمْ. They were calling, praying. Abu Jahl was saying, send over us the punishment if Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is true. If he is really your messenger, then you don't spare us. Send down a rain of stones. But وَمَا كَانَ اللَّهُ لِيُعَذِّبَهُمْ وَأَنْتَ فِيهِمْ وَمَا كَانَ اللَّهُ مُعَذِّبَهُمْ وَهُمْ يَسْتَغْفِرُونَ وَمَا لَهُمْ أَلَّا يُعَذِّبَهُمُ اللَّهُ وَهُمْ يَصُدُّونَ عَنِ الْمَسْجِدِ الْحَرَامِ. But now the things have changed. Muslims have come out. You, O Prophet, have come out from Makkah. Now the things have changed. At that time, the situation was different. But مَا لَهُمْ أَلَّا يُعَذِّبَهُمُ اللَّهُ. Now, they don't have any claim that Allah shouldn't send any torment or any azab on them. What is it for them that can now save them from the punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? وَهُمْ يَسُدُّونَ عَنِ الْمَسْجِدِ الْحَرَامِ. And they are stopping the Muslims from Masjid al-Haram. They can't go to the Masjid al-Haram to perform Umrah. They are now forbidden to go over there. وَمَا كَانُوا أَوْلِيَاءَ. And they were not the custodians. These Quraysh, these Kuffar, these Mushrikeen, they are not the custodians of Kaaba. They are not the custodians of the Baytullah. In awliya'u illa al-muttaqoon. Only the God-fearing people, only those who believe in Allah, in His unity, in His attributes, only who have the regard for Him, who love Him, only they. In awliya'u illa al-muttaqoon, walakinna aksarahum la ya'lamoon. But most of them, they don't know it. وَمَا كَانَ صَلَاتُهُمْ مِنَ الْبَيْتِ إِلَّا مُكَاءً وَتَصْدِيًا. Now, as I told you, they claim that we are the followers of Ibrahim. So they claim that we also pray. They were making tawaf, circumambulation around the Kaaba. That was going on. They were performing Hajj. Only they had added something bad to all these things. So in the same way, the salah, the prayer of Ibrahim alayhi salam had been distorted. And distorted to what extent? وَمَا كَانَ صَلَاتُ مِنَ الْبَيْتِ إِلَّا مُقَامٌ وَتَسْدِيَةٌ. Now their prayer near the Bayt of Allah, near the house of Allah, is nothing but whistling and clapping of hands. Clapping of hands and whistling and so on. And making tawaf, this is their salah. فَذُوقُوا الْعَذَابَ بِمَا كُنْتُمْ تَكْفُرُونَ. So now taste this punishment and chastisement. Due to what? Because you were denying, you were rejecting. You rejected the call of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. إِنَّ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا يُنْفِقُونَ أَمْوَالَهُمْ لِيَصُدُّوا عَنْ سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. When this army of 1,000 people came, much was needed in funds also to raise that army. The provisions, they must have the provisions for the army, the arms and so on, to equip the army. Because there was no standing armies there. It was not the Byzantine Empire or the Persian Empire where they had the standing armies of thousands and thousands and lakhs, hundreds, thousands. Volunteer army from Mecca. So when they decided to raise an army, they needed funds and people contributed generously. And this ayah refers to this. إِنَّ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا يُنْفِقُونَ أَمْوَالَهُم. These people who disbelieve, who have committed kufr, they are spending their money, their wealth. لِيَصُدُّوا عَنْ سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. What for? To stop people from the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Look to them. They are also spending. Just as the Muslims were spending for the cause of Allah, for the cause of deen. To establish the deen of Allah, they were also spending. They were also making sacrifices. They were also risking their lives. فَسَيُنْفِقُونَهَا. They will go on doing this. This is a prophecy which came to be true. Expeditions after expeditions, attacks after attacks, they were continuing. And definitely they were spending for that. فَسَيُنْفِقُونَهَا ثُمَّ تَكُونُ عَلَيْهِمْ حَسْرَةً. So until that will become a regret upon them. We spent our money also. What was the result? We were overpowered. We were conquered by Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. ثُمَّ يُغْلَبُونَ. They will be overpowered. They will be overcome. وَالَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا إِلَىٰ جَهَنَّمَ يُحْشَرُونَ. And the real punishment is that these unbelievers will be gathered towards Jahannam, towards the fire of hell. لِيَمِيزَ اللَّهُ الْخَبِيثَ مِنَ الطَّيِّبِ. Again, very important. This is because Allah wants to discriminate the good from the bad, the wicked from the good, sifting. Because at Makkah, you were mixed. Muslims were there and the kuffars were there. Now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala opened the door of hijrah. Muslims were separated. So sifting had been done. Now this side and that side, absolutely clear. لِيَمِيزَ اللَّهُ الْخَبِيثَ مِنَ الطَّيِّبِ وَيَجْعَلَ الْخَبِيثَ بَعْضَهُ عَلَى بَعْضٍ فَيَرْكُمَهُ جَمِيعًا فَيَجْعَلَهُ فِي جَهَنَّمَ. And to take that foul and wicked thing and stack it one over the other, make it a heap, and then as a whole throw them into the fire of hell. وَيَجْعَلَ الْخَبِيثَ بَعْضَهُ عَلَى بَعْضٍ. Stacking one over the other. فَيَرْكُمَهُ. And gathering them, making them into a heap. فَيَجْعَلَهُ فِي جَهَنَّمَ. And then throwing that heap into the fire of hell. أُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْخَاسِرُونَ. Definitely, they are the losers. Losers in this world as well as losers in the hereafter. قُلْ لِلَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا إِن يَنْتَهُوا يُغْفَرْ لَهُمْ مَا قَدْ سَلَفَ. This is the last chance which is being given to the Quraysh of Makkah, the unbelievers who rejected Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. قُلْ لِلَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا. O Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, say to these people who have disbelieved, who have rejected your call of Iman. In yantahu, if they stop here, if they desist, if they change their attitude, yughfaru lahum ma qad salaf. Then what has passed, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will forgive them. Even now, if they come to believe, if we accept you as messenger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah will just condone whatever has happened in the past. وَإِن يَعُودُوا فَقَدْ مَضَتْ سُنَّةُ الْأَوَّلِينَ. But if they repeat what they have been doing, then the examples of the ancients have already passed. They know what happened to Ad, and they know what happened to Samud, and they must know what happened to Fir'aun and his army and his chiefs. Those examples are past. They will be added to the list of those examples, that's all. But even now, if they believe, if they accept Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, if they embrace Islam, if they enter the deen of Allah, يَدْخُلُونَ فِي دِينِ اللَّهِ أَفْوَاجًا, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will forgive them their past deeds. Now the address to the people who believe in Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. This is also one of the very important and permanently relevant ayah of the Quran. وَقَاتِلُوهُمْ حَتَّى لَا تَكُونَ فِتْنَةٌ وَيَكُونَ الدِّينُ كُلُّهُ لِلَّهِ. O Muslims, now that the final phase of the revolutionary struggle of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has started. This is the beginning, as you call it, this is the beginning of the end. This is the final phase of the struggle. Dawah, number one. Training the people, purifying their souls. Number two. Organizing them into a party, Hizbullah. Number three. Passive resistance. Taking all persecution without any retaliation. For 12 long years, these four things were going on. Calling, preaching. Whosoever accepted came to the fold of Islam. Purification of their souls. Yazakkihim. Organizing them into a party. Disciplined. Fasma'u ati'u. Bayana Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Ala sam'i wa ta'a. We pledged ourselves to the Prophet of Allah that we shall listen and obey. Ala sam'i wa ta'a. في العسر واليسر والمنشط والمكره وعلى عصرة علينا وعلى أن لا نجادل أهل الأمر. So all these things. And then, no retaliation for 12 long years. These four things Allama Iqbal has added together into one sentence of his couplet. Ba nashay darweshi dar sazo dama damzan. This is all darweshi. People calling you names, or you are not replying, you are praying for them. People throwing stones on you, you presenting flowers to them. This is darweshi. No retaliation. Dawah, tarbiyah, tanzeem, and sabr. Take everything with patience, without any retaliation. Isbiru, have patience. Isbiru ya ala yasir, fa inna ma'idakumul jannah. But now the fifth stage, the active resistance, and now the sixth and the final, the armed conflict has begun. Now it must continue. قَاتِلُوهُمْ حَتَّى لَا تَكُونَ فِتْنَةٌ. Till that time, that all persecution finishes. وَيَكُونَ الدِّينُ كُلُّهُ لِلَّهِ. And the deen, the system, it should become totally for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No division of the system. الَّذِينَ فَرَّقُوا دِينَهُمْ. We have read that ayah. The way system is one. The whole life, all aspects of human life, collective as well as individual, should come under Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So these are two things. Hatta la takuna fitnatun. Whenever you are a truly believing mu'min, he is in the environment and circumstances where the deen of Allah is not established. So he finds difficulty to practice the deen. The environment is not cooperating with him. And this is fitna. This is trial. You can't practice your deen. You can say prayers, but you can't establish the laws of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You can't chop off the hands of the thieves. Can you? That means you are not enforcing the deen of Allah. You are acting upon the deen of Allah only partially. So these two things, persecution should come to an end. Number one, a Muslim should be able to have his deen as a whole, organic whole, not a part of it. And this whole deen should become under Allah, His command, His sovereignty, kingdom of heaven on earth. To establish that kingdom of Allah on earth, the rule of Allah on earth, or according to the biblical terminology, kingdom of heaven on earth. Now this final phase of armed conflict has started and it should continue. The final goal is that the deen of Allah be established in totality. وَقَاتِلُهُمْ حَتَّى لَا تَكُونَ فِتْنَةٌ وَيَكُونَ الدِّينُ كُلُّهُ لِلَّهِ فَإِنِ انْتَهَوْا فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ بِمَا يَعْمَلُونَ بَصِيرٌ. And if they stop, if they don't resist, they desist from opposing, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is seeing what they are doing. It means now you also stop. If the deen has become dominant, well, if they want to live as Christians or Jews, they can live. But the deen will be dominant. Dominant deen will be of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What happened 50 years back in the Indian subcontinent? The deen belonged to whom? The Britishers. Whose law was enforced? Who were the rulers? So deen was for them. And for us was only a freedom. You can pray, go to the mosques. You can keep fast during Ramadan. But the law will be British law. Will you be governed by sword or by pen? Do you remember this word? So what was the deen? Deen was of Britishers. Only religion we could practice in the limited sphere. You can have anything as beliefs, your dogma, your modes of worship, you can have them. That is why Allama Iqbal, in a very sarcastic style, he said, मुल्ला को जो है हिंद में सजदे की इजाजत, नादा ये समझता है कि इस्लाम है आजाद. Because मुल्ला is free to pray to Allah, go to mosque, say the azan. He thinks mistakenly that Islam is azad. Islam is not azad. Islam is in chains. Islam is dominated by the Britishers. The real domination is for the Britishers. In the same way, everywhere, sovereignty belongs to the masses. The majority will decide the rule. Whatever they decide, that will be the law of the land. So it's not the rule of Allah. Nowhere in Muslim world also. Except a few exceptions, I don't want to go into detail. Anyhow, this is the goal set for the Muslim Ummah for all times to come. But it is essential. This, qital, which is the final stage, it comes after some prerequisites have been fulfilled. Without fulfilling those prerequisites, if you go to war, you are fool. And this point actually is most misunderstood by the Muslims of today. What are those prerequisites? What was the basic methodology of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? So today, even if there will be a movement, a struggle, in the footsteps of the struggle of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, first of all, you have to pass through those 4 stages. Dawah, Tazkiyah and Tarbiyah, then Tanzeem, then passive resistance, active resistance, and then, if there is field, and if there is possibility and feasibility, go to war. Or if it is not feasible, what is the alternative? Anyhow, this is the goal set for the Muslim Ummah. This was not only for the Sahaba, for the days of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. As I told you, these are universal and eternal principles of Islam. If the deen of Allah is not established, it is fitna. It is rebellion against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This world belongs to Him. This earth belongs to Him. He is the rightful ruler. Whosoever is ruling is in revolt against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And whosoever is faithful to Allah, he must fight him out. And if he doesn't, he is not sincere with Allah. But how to fight out? What is the methodology? That is a different thing. But this must be understood, that this is the goal. Islam is not a religion in the common sense of the word. It's a deen, it's a whole system of life. And a system of life is established actually. Not which you can read in the books, or you can only profess through your tongue. وَقَاتِلُوهُمْ حَتَّى لَا تَكُونَ. This ayah actually appears first in Surah Al-Baqarah. Here one word has been added. Just remember, in the 24th section of Surah Al-Baqarah, وَقَاتِلُوهُمْ حَتَّى لَا تَكُونَ فِتْنَةٌ وَيَكُونَ الدِّينُ لِلَّهِ. Here it has been intensified more. قَاتِلُوهُمْ حَتَّى لَا تَكُونَ فِتْنَةٌ وَيَكُونَ الدِّينُ كُلُّهُ لِلَّهِ. No exception. Even if one aspect of human life is outside the deen of Allah, this is not the total establishment of the deen of Allah. Our religion, Islam, is not only a private affair of the individuals. It's a total system. Kulluhu, as one whole, organic whole, the whole system. The total politico-socio-economic system that has to be governed by the laws of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is the goal. And this should be the goal of every truly believing Muslim. وَإِن تَوَلَّوْا فَاعْلَمُوا أَنَّ اللَّهَ مَوْلَاكُمْ نِعْمَ الْمَوْلَى وَنِعْمَ النَّصِيرُ. If they turn away, then you, O Muslims, rest assured, be it known to you, Allah is your friend, Allah is your supporter. Don't fear them. نِعْمَ الْمَوْلَى وَنِعْمَ النَّصِيرُ. How an excellent protector and how excellent helper he is. وَاعْلَمُوا أَنَّمَا غَنِمْتُم مِّن شَيْءٍ فَأَنَّ لِلَّهِ خُمُسَهُ. Now you know, in the beginning it was said, this is repetition of that subject now. And this is the style of the Quran. While composing the surah, the most important ayah or issue is taken in the beginning. So this surah began with, يَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الْأَنْفَالِ, because this was the most sensitive issue after the victory of Badr. How to divide them, what to do with them, these spoils, this booty, a lot of it, how to distribute it. So the first answer was given very categorical. All these belong to Allah and His Messenger. You just wash off your hands and go and sit. So that if something is given, it will appear to be very valuable. First of all, it belongs to Allah and Rasul. You have no right in it, no share. But now the law, which is permanent law. وَعَلَمُوا أَنَّمَا غَنِمْتُم مِّن شَيْءٍ. May it be known to you that whatever you have as spoils of war, a booty, فَأَنَّ لِلَّهِ خُمُسَهُ. For Allah, Wali Rasul, and His Messenger, only 1/5 will be reserved. And this will be spent on what? فَأَنَّ لِلَّهِ خُمُسَهُ وَلِلرَّسُولِ وَلِذِي الْقُرْبَى وَالْيَتَامَى وَالْمَسَاكِينِ وَابْنِ السَّبِيلِ. These are to be spent. Now, number one, the expenses of the Prophet ﷺ himself. He was not getting any salary. He was not being paid. He was not doing any business now. Till such time that he was at Makkah, the wealth of Khadija radiyallahu ta'ala anha was going. It was quite a lot. But after Hijrah, what? That is why many nights he and his family had to go without any food. You have all these things in the Ahadith, in the Seerah. But now Allah has opened a way. Except that somebody, came and presented something. He didn't take any zakah, any sadaqat, but gifts, presents, they could be accepted. Whatever a Muslim presented, okay. Even out of it he used to spend for others. There were Ashab al-Sufa sitting outside. So he was going, he and his family going for many times together without any food, meal, without any food. But now, a definite source. فَأَنَّ لِلَّهِ خُمُسَهُ وَلِلرَّسُولِ. Now his expenses, out of this 1/5, وَلِذِي الْقُرْبَى, and his relatives. His relatives, Zil Qurba. Because he is also a human being, he has his relations, not only his personal, but his relatives. وَالْيَتَامَى, and now the orphans for the general society. وَالْمَسَاكِينِ, and the destitutes, the poor, وَابْنِ السَّبِيلِ, and the travelers. إِن كُنْتُمْ آمَنْتُمْ بِاللَّهِ وَمَا أَنزَلْنَا عَلَىٰ عَبْدِنَا. If you actually have faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then you must accept this. 1/5 reserved for this. 4/5 will be distributed. That detail has not been given here. We know it from the hadith and Surah. Double share was for the mounted. Whosoever had a camel or a horse also, his share was double because he was feeding it. There were no regular supply lines and no rations, nothing of the sort. So whosoever was mounted was looking after the animal himself. So he should get double. The foot soldiers, they will get single. That was the rule decided. Although you might not have gathered anything. If you were standing on guard somewhere, you had not taken any part in the actual combat. You are not the combatant, but you will also be given a part. It's a collective thing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you, not your personal efforts. So 1/5 will be reserved and the 4/5 will be decided. وَمَا أَنزَلْنَا عَلَىٰ عَبْدِنَا يَوْمَ الْفُرْقَانِ يَوْمَ الْتَقَى الْجَمْعَانِ. And if you believe in what we sent down on our bondsman, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Yawm al-Furqan, on the day of Criterion. Now these words of Abu Jahl are thrown back on them. He said it is going to be Yawm al-Furqan, and we did make it Yawm al-Furqan. This is Yawm al-Furqan. Yawm al-Taqal Jam'an, the day when the two hosts, the two armies, they met each other. وَمَا أَنزَلْنَا عَلَىٰ عَبْدِنَا يَوْمَ الْفُرْقَانِ يَوْمَ الْتَقَى الْجَمْعَانِ وَاللَّهُ عَلَىٰ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرٌ. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has power over everything. إِذْ أَنْتُمْ بِالْعُدْوَةِ الدُّنْيَا وَهُمْ بِالْعُدْوَةِ الْقُصْوَى. Now this valley, Badr is a valley, a broad valley. And at both the ends, north and south, it narrows down into a very narrow alley of mountains to this side, mountains to that side. The usual caravan route passed through this valley. When coming from Mecca, they entered the southern end of the valley, and then when they proceeded north, from northern end. So these are the two ends. And the road which goes to Medina is also near the northern end. So now the Prophet and his companions, they came from Medina. So they were at the closer, which was more closer to Medina, nearer to Medina, on that end of the valley. Is antum bil udwati dunya. Dunya is the feminine of adna. Adna is nearer. Dunya is the feminine. The nearer corner of the valley you reach there. Wahum bil udwati al-quswa. And they at the farther end, they were present there. Warrakba asfala minkum. And the caravan was beneath you. What does it mean? Actually, what Abu Sufyan did, when he was returning with that caravan, which had a lot of merchandise with it, number one, he sent an SOS message to Makkah. I fear an attack from Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So send help. Secondly, he changed his route. He didn't enter the valley of Badr. He passed by the coast of the Red Sea. Because now the Red Sea coast was at a lower level. So that is why Allah is saying they were beneath you. You were at a higher place. It's a mountainous region. You were higher. He didn't take this route at all. He just bypassed the Badr valley of Badr and he went near the coast, along the coast. وَالرَّكْبُ أَسْفَلَ مِنْكُمْ وَلَوْ تَوَعَدْتُمْ لَاخْتَلَفْتُمْ فِي الْمِيعَادِ. And had you made a mutual agreement of meeting at one place, you must have committed some mistake and you would have differed in the time. But at the same time, they came and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam reached here. It was only 3 days journey of Badr from Medina. 10 days from Makkah. But Allah planned it in a way that they reached the valley absolutely simultaneously. Had you decided mutually that we shall meet at the Badr on such and such date, you might have differed due to any circumstances. There could be delay of your arrival in this valley, or the arrival of the Quraysh might have been delayed. But because Allah wanted to accomplish and to show this Al-Furqan to the whole of Arabian Peninsula, people of all the Arabian Peninsula, that Allah is with them, Allah is with Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He wanted to make it Yawm al-Furqan, so he decided that you and they both reached Badr simultaneously. إِذْ أَنْتُمْ بِالْعُدْوَةِ الدُّنْيَا وَهُمْ بِالْعُدْوَةِ الْقُصْوَى وَالرَّكْبُ أَسْفَلَ مِنْكُمْ وَلَوْ تَوَاعَدْتُمْ لَاخْتَلَفْتُمْ فِي الْمِيعَادِ وَلَكِنْ لِيَقْضِيَ اللَّهُ أَمْرًا كَانَ مَفْعُولًا. But this was so that a matter is accomplished fully, which was to be accomplished. The will of Allah had to be fulfilled. لِيَهْلِكَ مَنْ هَلَكَ عَنْ بَيِّنَةٍ. So that now when it has become clear, it is Furqan. Haqq and Batil are discriminated, totally differentiated for the whole of the Arabian Peninsula. لِيَهْلِكَ مَنْ هَلَكَ عَنْ بَيِّنَةٍ. Now whosoever has to die, he should die after this clear sign, not in doubt. وَيَحْيَى مَنْ حَيَّ عَنْ بَيِّنَةٍ. And whosoever wants to live spiritually, he should live with a clear sign. That this is the sign of Allah, this is Al-Furqan, which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has showed that Muhammad and his companions are on the right path, and these people of Makkah are on the wrong path. Inna Allah la Samiun Alim. Verily Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Sami, all hearing, and Alim, all knowing. إِذْ يُرِيكَهُمُ اللَّهُ فِي مَنَامِكَ قَلِيلًا. Recall when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was showing to you, O Muhammad, in your dream, the enemy as small. There can be an objection. Was the dream of Muhammad false or wrong? And the dream of a prophet cannot be false, be wrong. What does it mean? One is apparent strength, and one is the real strength. The real strength of that army was very small. Why? Because most of them who were forced to come there due to their chieftains, in their hearts of hearts they believed that Muhammad was on the right path. They knew who was Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They knew who are his companions. Abu Bakr Siddiq, a person like him. Osman, a person like him. These people, morally, character-wise, their personalities, the silent majority knows everything. It remains silent because of lack of courage. They can't say it out. They can't take the courage of standing and saying to the chiefs, people at the helm of affairs, you are wrong. They are silent. But although they are silent, they are not blind. They see. They knew the difference between Muhammad and Abu Jahl. Who Abu Jahl is, what is his character, what is his personality, and who Muhammad is, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what is his character. So they knew it. So actually, their urge to fight, that was not strong. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala showed him the real strength. The apparent strength was something else. 1,000 marching with drums beating and everything, and you pomp and show, all the show there. But the real strength, the heart to fight. If you think you are on the right path, your strength is something else. If you think you are fighting for the right cause, for the just cause, your strength is something else. And if you are self-defeated within your own conscience, well, I am not going for the correct cause. I have to go. Because this Abu Jahl, he wants me to go. There's something else, sort of mercenaries. So Allah showed to the Prophet ﷺ that the real strength is very little. إِذْ يُرِيكَهُمُ اللَّهُ فِي مَنَامِكَ قَلِيلًا وَلَوْ أَرَاكَهُمْ كَثِيرًا لَفَشِلْتُمْ. Had he shown to you that they are very large in number, لَفَشِلْتُمْ, O Muslims, you would have lost courage. وَلَتَنَازَعْتُمْ فِي الْأَمْرِ. You must have quarreled about the matter, whether we should fight or not, whether we should avoid this combat or not. وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ سَلَّمْ. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saved you. إِنَّهُ عَلِيمٌ بِذَاتِ الصُّدُورِ. He very well knows whatever is there in the hearts of the people. وَيُرِيكُمُوهُمْ إِذْ الْتَقَيْتُمْ فِي أَعْيُنِكُمْ قَلِيلًا. Not only to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Allah made this army of Quraysh little in the eyes of the Muslims also. Although they were 313, but as if they saw they are not many in number. That was also a blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. إِذْ يُرِيكُمُوهُمْ إِذْ الْتَقَيْتُمْ فِي أَعْيُنِكُمْ قَلِيلًا وَيُقَلِّلَكُمْ فِي أَعْيُنِهِمْ. And he had belittled you also in their eyes. Why? Because Allah wanted that there should be the combat. لَيَقْضِيَ اللَّهُ أَمْرًا كَانَ مَفْعُولًا. Nobody should go away now. Fighting should take place. That was the decision of Allah. Allah wanted to make it Yawm al-Furqan. وَإِلَى اللَّهِ تُرْجَعُ الْأُمُورُ. And to Allah return all the matters for final decision. Nothing can happen without His permission. Everything is referred to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu idha laqitum fi'atan fasbutu. Oh, you who believe, when you have to meet a host of the army, an army of the enemy, fasbutu, be firm, stand firm, wazkurullaha kaseeran. And remember Allah. Continue zikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to the maximum. لَعَلَّكُمْ تُفْلِحُونَ, so that you may triumph. وَأَطِيعُوا اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ, and obey Allah and His Messenger. وَلَا تَنَازَعُوا, don't quarrel with each other. فَتَفْشَلُوا, then you will definitely, if there is difference of opinion and this dragging and of the proposals and pushing the proposal and going on, discussing these things and those things, if you continue those things, فَتَفْشَلُوا, you will lose the courage. وَتَذْهَبَ رِيحُكُمْ, and your power will depart. وَاصْبِرُوا, and have patience. إِنَّ اللَّهَ مَعَ الصَّابِرِينَ. What happened at Uhud 1 year later? There was a dispute. The Prophet had ordered 50 archers not to leave that place. But 35 out of them, they disobeyed. Although they had justified, and I also think, we have already discussed it in Surah Al-Imran, they thought that the Prophet only meant in case of defeat. Even if you saw all of us killed, and that the birds are eating our flesh, even then you don't move from here. So they are good. Now this is an absolutely different circumstances. We have got the victory. Why should we stay here now? But the local commander insisted, nothing doing, don't move. So they defied the local commander. And the saying of the Prophet is, Man ata'ani faqad ata'a Allah, wa man asani faqad asa Allah, wa man ata'a amiri faqad ata'ani, wa man asa amiri faqad asani. Whosoever obeys me, he obeys Allah. Whosoever disobeys me, he disobeys Allah. Whosoever obeys a person appointed by me, an Amir, appointed by me, he obeys me actually. And whosoever disobeys a person, an Amir appointed by me, he disobeys me actually. So that was a disobedience, a dispute. So that happened. لَقَدْ صَدَقَكُمُ اللَّهُ وَعْدَهُ إِسْتَحُسُّونَهُمْ بِإِذْنِهِ حَتَّى إِذَا فَشِلْتُمْ وَتَنَازَعْتُمْ فِي الْأَمْرِ. The same two words appear in that ayah of Surah Al-Imran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had fulfilled His promise, had given you the victory. But when you disputed about the matter, وَعَصَيْتُمْ مِنْ بَعْدِ مَا أَرَاكُمْ تُحِبُّونَ, and disobeyed, then you know, we turned the tables on you. It was a punishment. يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا إِذَا لَقِيتُمْ فِئَةً فَاثْبُتُوا وَاذْكُرُوا اللَّهَ كَثِيرًا لَعَلَّكُمْ تُفْلِحُونَ وَأَطِيعُوا اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ. Now these are also general instructions for all time to come. Whenever you will again try to establish the deen of Allah, the same circumstances will come. You will have to be in a party, Hizbullah, disciplined party. If you don't keep the discipline of the party, you will be the losers. If Allah didn't condone even the mistake of the Sahaba, 35 disobeyed, and as a punishment, 70 martyred. Even the Prophet injured, his teeth broken. Allah didn't condone your mistake. We have to give you the lesson so that you are careful in the future. So what will happen to us? If we don't care about the discipline, what will happen? Nothing will happen. What happened to these Afghan Mujahideen? Because they were not under one leader, one commander, they lost the fight. The turning point was Jalalabad. Because all the groups tried to take the credit of the victory of Jalalabad. There was a chaos. They were defeated. And that was the turning point. So that is important. Discipline. Sam'u Fasma'u wa ati'u. Listen and obey. The discipline of an army. There's not to reason why, there's but to do and die. Listen to your commanders, your Amir, and you have to act upon it. Only if it is against the deen of Allah, it is haram, then you are allowed to to disobey. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu idha laqitum fi'atan fasbutu wazkurullaha kaseeran la'allakum tuflihun. Wa ati'ullaha wa rasulahu wa la tanaza'u fatafshalu wa tadhhaba rihukum wasbiru innallaha ma'as sabirin. Verily, Allah is with those people who have patience and forbearance. That is, Allah's help is with them. وَلَا تَكُونُوا كَالَّذِينَ خَرَجُوا مِنْ دِيَارِهِمْ. And don't be like those who came out of their homes. Now this is referring to the Quraysh, army of Quraysh. مِنْ دِيَارِهِمْ بَطَرًا. Boasting, boastfully. We are very strong. رِيَاءَ النَّاسِ. Showing off to the people. This is our strength. We have this armor. This is the number of camels we are taking with us. They will be our ration also. And we have 300 or 200 horsemen with us. وَيَسُدُّونَ عَنْ سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. But the purpose was to stop, to oppose that movement of Islam. Stop people from the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَاللَّهُ بِمَا يَعْمَلُونَ مُحِيطٌ. And Allah had already encircled what they were doing. They didn't know the unseen. What was the decision of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? They were going very much confident of their victory. Abu Jahl was saying, it is going to be Yawm al-Furqan. They were so sure of their victory. Wallahu bima ya'maluna muhit. Allah had already encircled whatever they were doing. وَإِزَّيَّنَ لَهُمُ الشَّيْطَانُ أَعْمَالَهُمْ. And when Satan had made for them very beautiful and alluring and attractive what they were doing. وَقَالَ لَا غَالِبَ لَكُمُ الْيَوْمَ مِنَ النَّاسِ. And he said to them, whispered to them in their minds, الَّذِي يُوَسْوِسُ فِي صُدُورِ النَّاسِ. لَا غَالِبَ لَكُمُ الْيَوْمَ. Today, nobody can beat you. Nobody can overcome you. Nobody can overpower you. Nobody can defeat you on this earth. وَإِنِّي جَارٌ لَكُمْ. And I am also with you. I am your neighbor. I am standing with you. فَلَمَّا تَرَاتِ الْفِيَتَانِ. And when the two armies saw each other, sighted each other, نَكَسَ عَلَىٰ عَقَبَيْهِ. He turned back on his heels. وَقَالَ إِنِّي بَرِيءٌ مِّنكُمْ. And he said, I have nothing to do with you. إِنِّي أَرَىٰ مَا لَا تَرَوْنَ. I am seeing what you are not seeing. I am seeing the angels coming. How can I stand? You can't see them. I am seeing. إِنِّي أَرَىٰ مَا لَا تَرَوْنَ. I told you, the angels and these jinns, they are somewhat closer to each other because angels were created out of light and the jinns were created out of fire. These two things are very close to each other. Fire has a light in it. We humans, we have been created from the clay, the crust of this earth. So it's very inert. These two, and both of them are invisible to us. And both of them, angels as well as jinns, can take on any form. A jinn can appear before me as a human being. An angel also can appear before me as a human being. Many a times, Hazrat Jibreel alayhi salatu wasalam used to come to Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam in human shape. And he took the features of Hazrat Dihya Kalbi radiyallahu ta'ala, and he was a very handsome person from among the companions of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So both have some proximity to each other. He saw that 1,000 strong army of angels is coming. Inni ara ma la taron. I am seeing what you are not seeing. Inni akhafullah. Wallahu shadidul iqab. I fear Allah. So he ran away. And definitely Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is very severe in punishment. إِذْ يَقُولُ الْمُنَافِقُونَ وَالَّذِينَ فِي قُلُوبِهِمْ مَرَضٌ. Just recall when the hypocrites of Medina and those in whom hearts there was a disease. In whom hearts there was disease, that is, they were still at the first level of nifaq. It has not gone to the extreme. And there were some also in whom this nifaq was from the very beginning to the highest degree. Abdullah ibn Ubay, for example, he was from the very first day munafiq. Why? Because actually, he was going to be proclaimed as king of Yasrib. These two tribes, Aus and Khazraj, they were very much weary of infighting between them. And they wanted, we should have some discipline, we should have some order here. So they had decided that they will declare Abdullah ibn Ubay as king of Medina, accept him as the king. And a crown was also prepared. He was going to be crowned very soon. Coronation was to take place. And Muhammad came, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. All his dreams were shattered. But he could do nothing. Because most of the people of his own tribe, Khazraj, they also believed in Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So he had no option but to become a Muslim legally and then try his luck. To be always in search of some occasion. So he was a total munafiq from the very beginning. But other people, some were only, the disease was just in the first stage. إِذْ يَقُولُ الْمُنَافِقُونَ وَالَّذِينَ فِي قُلُوبِهِمْ مَرَضٌ غَرَّ هَؤُلَاءِ دِينُهُمْ. To these people, that is the Muslims, the Mu'mins, their deen has made them crazy. They have become fools. They are going to confront Quraysh. What a big folly. They have lost their brains. They have become crazy. غَرَّ هَؤُلَاءِ دِينُهُمْ. Their deen, their belief has deceived them and made them gone crazy. وَمَنْ يَتَوَكَّلَ عَلَى اللَّهِ فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ عَزِيزٌ حَكِيمٌ. They don't know that whosoever places his faith and confidence in Allah, Allah is Aziz, all powerful, Hakim, all wise. وَلَوْ تَرَى إِذْ يَتَوَفَّى الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا الْمَلَائِكَةُ يَضْرِبُونَ وُجُوهَهُمْ. Only if you could see when the Malaika, the angels, will be taking the souls and life of these people. يَضْرِبُونَ وُجُوهَهُمْ. They will be smiting their faces, وَأَدْبَارَهُمْ, and their backs. وَذُوقُوا عَذَابَ الْحَرِيقِ. And they will be saying, now go and taste the punishment which will burn you. Hariq. ذَلِكَ بِمَا قَدَّمَتْ أَيْدِيكُمْ. This is what your own hands have sent for you. Your own deeds. وَأَنَّ اللَّهَ لَيْسَ بِظَلَّامٍ لِلْعَبِيدِ. And verily, Allah is not cruel to the people. This is your own earning. You have done it. كَدَابِ عَلَى فِرْعَوْنَ وَالَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِهِمْ. Like the manner of people of Fir'aun and those before him. كَفَرُوا بِآيَاتِ اللَّهِ. They disbelieved the revelations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. فَأَخَذَهُمُ اللَّهُ بِذُنُوبِهِمْ. So Allah seized them due to their misdeeds and sins. إِنَّ اللَّهَ قَوِيٌّ شَدِيدُ الْعِقَابِ. Verily, certainly, Allah is Qawi, all powerful, almighty, and He is very severe in punishment. Now this one ayah refers to all the stories of the messengers of Allah that appeared in Surah Al-A'raf, but making more apparent reference towards Al Fir'aun. But actually, the people of Nuh, the people of Hud, the people of Saleh, the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah to whom Hazrat Lut was sent, then people of Shu'aib, and then Al Fir'aun. But because this Al Fir'aun really, they had special relationship with the Jews, because the Jews were persecuted by them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala delivered and saved them from their persecution. So actually now, he has been singled out, Fir'aun and his people. Qadabi ala Fir'aun. But it actually refers to all the nations who were destroyed because they didn't accept the dawah of the messengers of Allah who were sent to them. ذَلِكَ بِأَنَّ اللَّهَ لَمْ يَكُنْ مُغَيِّرًا نِعْمَةً أَنْعَمَهَا عَلَىٰ قَوْمٍ. This is because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't change the favor with which He has blessed any nation. حَتَّى يُغَيِّرُوا مَا بِأَنفُسِهِمْ. Unless they change what is in their souls. This is a very permanent law of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sunnatullah. And we shall read it because, Surah Al-Ra'd and Surah Ibrahim, alayhi salatu wassalam, in these two surahs, this subject will be discussed in detail. إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُغَيِّرُ مَا بِقَوْمٍ حَتَّى يُغَيِّرُوا مَا بِأَنفُسِهِمْ. Whatever is in your souls, you have to change it. If you don't change what is within your souls, the condition will not change. And this is the biggest blunder that all the Muslim movements of today, the so-called jihadi movements, they are missing the point here. Before purifying the souls of the people, they want that the system should be changed. How can the system be changed? The inner personalities of the people should be changed first. Their thinking should change. Their value structure should change. What did Muhammad do? I am going to discuss it tomorrow in detail. What was the process of revolution? How he revolutionized the whole society and the whole country, rather the whole peninsula of Arabia. He changed the souls of the people first, their thinking, their structure, their beliefs, their value structure, everything was changed. So you have to change people from within. As I quoted many a times, a couplet from Allama Iqbal, that this Quran, when it penetrates the inner soul of a person, he is changed from within. Chun bajan dar raft, jahan digar shabad. Jahan chu digar shud, jahan digar shabad. And when the inner personality of a person changes, first of all, the whole world changes for him, because now his point of view has changed. And then this is the beginning of a revolution. So this is very important. ذَلِكَ بِأَنَّ اللَّهَ لَمْ يَكُنْ مُغَيِّرًا نِعْمَةً أَنْعَمَهَا عَلَىٰ قَوْمٍ حَتَّىٰ يُغَيِّرُوا مَا بِأَنفُسِهِمْ وَأَنَّ اللَّهَ سَمِيعٌ عَلِيمٌ. Allah is all hearing, all knowing. كَذَابِ عَلِ فِرْعَوْنَ وَالَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِهِمْ. Again a reference to the whole history of the messengers of Allah and their nations who were doomed. كَذَّبُوا بِآيَاتِ رَبِّهِمْ. They rejected, belied the revelations of their Lord as well as the miracles that were shown to them. Ayat, it covers both the things. Because the teachings of the prophets, they are also ayat of Allah, revelations, ayatul Quran. These are ayat. But also, the miracles that were given to Hazrat Musa alayhi salatu wasalam, 9 of them. وَلَقَدْ آتَيْنَا مُوسَى تِسْعَ آيَاتٍ بَيِّنَاتٍ. 9 clear signs were given, and we have read them in Surah Al-Araf. كَذَّبُوا بِآيَاتِ رَبِّهِمْ فَأَهْلَكْنَاهُمْ. We destroyed them. بِذُنُوبِهِمْ, due to their sins and misdeeds. وَأَغْرَقْنَا آلَ فِرْعَوْنَ وَكُلٌّ كَانُوا ظَالِمِينَ. And we drowned the people of Fir'aun, and they were the evildoers, the transgressors. إِنَّ شَرَّ الدَّوَابِّ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا. Verily, the worst of the beasts on earth, animals on earth, are those humans who make kufr. What is kufr? I discussed it. This testimony that Allah is here, Allah is our Lord, this testimony is in our souls. Our souls testify to it. We had that firm covenant with Him. Alastu bi rabbikum qalu bala. We have read it in Surah Al-Araf. So that, testimony, our souls had in it, but we suppress it. Why? Due to our vested interests, due to our positions. We are the leaders. So they suppressed. Kufr means to hide something, kufr. To do away with something, to reject something. All these are the meanings of this word kufr. إِنَّ شَرَّ الدَّوَابِّ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا فَهُمْ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ. Because they have already suppressed the testimony of their nature within themselves, they are not going to believe. Whatever you do, O Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, or whatever you do, O Muslims, radiyallahu ta'ala anhum. الَّذِينَ أَحَدْتَ مِنْهُمْ. Now, a clear reference to the Jews. Because the Prophet, when he came over to Medina, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, it was a masterpiece of his, statesmanship. If you read the book written by Montgomery Watt, Muhammad at Medina, he wrote the biography of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in 2 volumes. Muhammad at Makkah, Muhammad at Medina. Although there was a trick, a very subtle, trick in it. But I don't want to go into that detail. But, he uses all the words of praise in English language in superlative form for Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. His statesmanship, his far sight, his understanding of the situation. And one of the things that he cites is that he immediately on reaching Medina, he concluded treaties with all the 3 tribes of Jews who were living round about Medina. He just had them in the fold of that Misaq Medina. And a joint defense treaty was concluded with them. This is very important. But what happened? These people, they concluded the treaty, but secretly they were violating it. They were sending messages to Quraysh, come, invade, and we shall help from within. They were doing it. Now this is the reference to this character of theirs. الَّذِينَ أَحَدْتَ مِنْهُمْ. Those of them with whom you had a treaty, ahad. ثُمَّ يَنْقُضُونَ أَحْدَهُمْ. And they are breaking their treaty, their covenant, فِي كُلِّ مَرَّةٍ, every time. Whenever there is time of mischief, They don't keep their words, go back on their words. وَهُمْ لَا يَتَّقُونَ, and they have no fear of Allah. And they don't care for anything. فَإِمَّا تَسْقَفَنَّهُمْ فِي الْحَرْبِ. So if you find them, and if you encounter them in the battlefield, فَشَرِّدْ بِهِمْ مَنْ خَلْفَهُمْ. So disperse through them those who are behind them. Give them the worst punishment, so that people who are behind, who are sitting back in Medina, who are pulling the ropes, they get terrified, So that is the philosophy of punishments in Islam also. The punishments in Islam, exemplary. Why? Cut off the hand, so that now theft will be eliminated from the society. In the same way, all these punishments, they seem to be to others they call it, they are very cruel, very harsh. But actually, crime cannot be eradicated. Now it is proved. There can be no higher level of education than the level you have in America. But has this education and all this, has it eradicated crime from your society? Most heinous crime is there. You can't reform this society. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has prescribed. In the same way, to those enemies of Allah, whomsoever you find in the battlefield, give him the severest punishment, so that it terrifies those who are sitting behind in Medina. And, they also get the message through them. فَإِمَّا تَسْقَفَنَّهُمْ فِي الْحَرْبِ فَشَرِّدْ بِهِمْ مَنْ خَلْفَهُمْ لَعَلَّهُمْ يَذَّكَّرُونَ. So that they may be admonished, and they think twice before taking any step against you. وَإِمَّا تَخَافَنَّ مِنْ قَوْمٍ خِيَانَةً. This is also very important. Every ayah of Quran is important. Someone from some one aspect, the other from some other aspect, but every word of Allah is most important. إِمَّا تَخَافَنَّ مِنْ قَوْمٍ خِيَانَةً. If you fear a treachery from any group with whom you have a treaty, well, you are faithful, you are fulfilling all the conditions of your side of the treaty, but you feel that the other party is treacherous, is not keeping its terms of treaty. فَانْبِذْ إِلَيْهِمْ عَلَى سَوَاءٍ. So throw back to them their treaty on equity basis. إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُحِبُّ الْخَائِنِينَ. Verily Allah doesn't like the treacherous ones. Now what's the message in this ayah? If you keep the treaty and take any step against that group or nation or tribe, this is treacherous. If you want and you decide that you have to take some action against them, first of all declare that no treaty between you and us now. This is the character of the Muslims. Not treachery, having a treaty legally and under the table fighting each other. Whenever you have a treaty and you feel that the other party is not keeping the treaty, but also not declaring that the treaty is finished, but you, before taking any step against them, you must declare that now this treaty stands annulled. Then you take the step. وَلَا يَحْسَبَنَّ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا سَبَقُوا أَنَّهُمْ لَا يُعْجَزُونَ. And these people who have rejected the faith, because the Jews rejected the faith, although they knew Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was the prophet of Allah, يَعْرِفُونَهُ كَمَا يَعْرِفُونَ أَبْنَاءَهُمْ. We have read it so many times. So they rejected, knowingly. لَا يَحْسَبَنَّ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا سَبَقُوا. They don't think they will escape. إِنَّهُمْ لَا يُعْجِزُونَ. They are not going to overcome or outwit or outdo Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Makrullah, they can't keep them safe from that. وَعِدُّوا لَهُمْ مَسْتَطَعْتُمْ. And O believers, keep ready with you. عِدُّوا لَهُمْ. Prepare against them. مَسْتَطَعْتُمْ مِنْ قُوَّةٍ. All the force that you can gather, which is in your power. Now this appears to be somewhat contradictory. You have faith in Allah, so Allah will look after everything. Allah will take care of it. No. You have to do whatever you can. You don't leave any stone unturned. You have to do whatever you can do. Then have faith in Allah. There is a very beautiful incident of the life of the Prophet ﷺ. A Bedouin came to see him, and he didn't tie the knee of the she-camel he was riding, just left her as free and stepped into the mosque. And he asked, why didn't you tie the knee of the she-camel? He said, I have faith in Allah. I have trusted Allah. The Prophet said, no, go back. Aqilha, summa tawakkal. Go and tie the knee and then have faith in Allah. and confidence in Allah. Whatever you can do, you have to do. But don't think that you can do anything only through your own power or your own, endeavors. Blessings of Allah are required. Finally, everything rests with Him. His decision, that will be implemented. وَعِدُّ لَهُمْ مَسْتَطَعْتُمْ مِنْ قُوَّةٍ وَمِنْ رِبَاطِ الْخَيْلِ. And also the steeds of war. Today, the tanks you should have, everything you must have with you, as much as you can. And here let me mention, the atomic capability is a very big blessing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave to Pakistan. And these people are very fearful, lest we can prepare and we explode an atomic bomb. Although they have it, they say, this is exclusive right of ours, we can have it. We are mature enough, we won't misuse it. But you are not dependable people, you may misuse it. So that is actually, we are not grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we shall be brought to the book. We gave you this capability, and this capability came to Pakistan miraculously. We couldn't get it. From Allah's grace that we got it. But all the pressure on that country, that you stop it, you cap it, you roll it back, and so on. It's going on. But Allah's command is different. Whatever you can do, you must prepare and you must keep ready. وَعِدُّ لَهُمْ مَسْتَطَعْتُمْ مِنْ قُوَّةٍ وَمِنْ رِبَاطِ الْخَيْلِ تُرْهِبُونَ بِهِ عَدُوَّ اللَّهِ. So that you terrorize the enemies of Allah, وَعَدُوَّكُمْ, and your enemies. Your enemies are Allah's enemies. Allah's enemies are your enemies. You are with Allah. Allah is with you. وَآخَرِينَ مِن دُونِهِمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَهُمْ اللَّهُ يَعْلَمُهُمْ. And there are others beside them whom you don't know, Allah knows. You have a fifth columnist, people here in your society. When they will see that Muslims are very ready, then they will also be terrorized. And they won't be able to take any courage against you, to show any courage and take any action against you. So you have to remain prepared and gather whatever force of whatever kind is possible, you must have at your disposal. وَمَا تُنْفِقُوا مِنْ شَيْءٍ. And because for this preparation you need money, you need funds, you need finances. For that the encouragement. وَمَا تُنْفِقُوا مِنْ شَيْءٍ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ يُوَفَّى إِلَيْكُمْ وَأَنْتُمْ لَا تُظْلَمُونَ. Whatever you will spend in the way of Allah to procure all these things, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you fully, reward you fully. يُوَفَّى إِلَيْكُمْ. It will be repaid you in full. وَأَنْتُمْ لَا تُظْلَمُونَ. And you will not be wronged. وَإِنْ جَنَحُوا لِلسَّلْمِ فَانْجَحْ لَهَا. And if these people, if they incline to peace, you also incline. Because if they want a peace, okay, have peace with them. And have a treaty with them. وَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ. And then you have faith in Allah. That if they are making this treaty dishonestly, they want to do something else, Allah will take care of them. But if you feel that they are going to do something wrong, then first of all, you throw the treaty on their faces, and then only you can take this step. Your moral level must be much higher than their moral level. It should be visible to the people. What's the moral level of the Muslims and what's the moral level of the Jews and the Mushrikeen of Makkah. وَإِن يُرِيدُوا يَخْدَعُوكَ. If they intend to deceive you, فَإِنَّ حَسْبَكَ اللَّهُ. So then Allah is sufficient for you. He will take care of them all. هُوَ الَّذِي أَيَّدَكَ بِنَصْرِهِ وَبِالْمُؤْمِنِينَ. It is He, Jalla Jalaluhu wa Amma Nawaluhu. It is He who has strengthened you with His own help and with the Muslims. He has provided you these companions. He has provided you these volunteers who are ready to sacrifice everything, who are ready to lay down their lives, who cherish death in the way of Allah. Shahadat hai matloob wa maqsood mu'min. Namale ghanimat na kishwar kushayi. Whom has given you these people? Allah has given you. So Allah helps you directly. And this is Allah's help which has come to you, O Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, through these companions, these fellows, your helpers. Because what happened to Moses, we have read in Surah Al-Ma'idah. When he called upon his people, now go and fight for the cause of Allah, they said, clearly replied, no, we are not going to move. فَتَبَنْتَ وَرَبُّكَ فَقَاتِلَا إِنَّا هَاهُنَا قَاعِدُونَ. We are sitting here. You go and take your Lord with you. And take your staff also with you. And go and drive them out from this country, and then we shall only enter this country. But Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam got the companions who were ready to lay down their lives. وَأَلَّفَ بَيْنَ قُلُوبِهِمْ. And another special favor that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has done on you. He has brought the hearts of your companions together, united them. They are more than real brothers. وَلَوْ أَنْفَقْتَ مَا فِي الْأَرْضِ جَمِيعًا مَا أَلَّفْتَ بَيْنَ قُلُوبِهِمْ. Had you spent all the wealth that is in this world, you could not have united their hearts. Iman has united them. Bunyanun marsus. Now they are like a reinforced structure. No breach, no dispute. No money could have brought about that type of unity which Iman has brought. لَوْ أَنْفَقْتَ مَا فِي الْأَرْضِ جَمِيعًا مَا أَلَّفْتَ بَيْنَ قُلُوبِهِمْ وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ أَلَّفَ بَيْنَهُمْ. It is Allah who has united their hearts. إِنَّهُ عَزِيزٌ حَكِيمٌ. Verily, He is all powerful and He is all wise. يَا أَيُّهَا النَّبِيُّ حَسْبُكَ اللَّهُ وَمَنِ اتَّبَعَكَ مِنَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. O Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, for you Allah is sufficient, and for those also who are following you. Now this ayah can be translated in two ways. Allah is sufficient for you also and for your followers also. And Allah and your followers are sufficient for you. The second meaning is more according to the text, because we found in the former ayah, هُوَ الَّذِي أَيَّدَكَ بِنَصْرِهِ وَبِالْمُؤْمِنِينَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala strengthened you with His own help and with these mu'mins, with these people. In the same way, Ya ayyuhan nabiyyu hasbukallahu wa man ittaba'aka minal mu'minin. For you, Allah and these believers who are following you, they are sufficient. Don't fear anything. Ya ayyuhan nabiyyu harridil mu'minina 'ala al-qital. O Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, exhort the believers to go to war in the way of Allah. In yakum minkum 20 sabirun. If there will be from amongst you 20 persevering Muslims, yaglibu mi'atain, they will overpower 200, 1 to 10. When yakum minkum mi'atun, and if there will be 100, yaglibu alfan, they will be victorious over 1,000. Min alladhina kafaru, from among those who have rejected the faith and who have suppressed the testimony of their own souls also. بِأَنَّهُمْ قَوْمٌ لَا يَفْقَهُونَ, because they are the people, they don't understand. The understanding of the realities of this universe enhances your power. Everything is in the hand of Allah. Nobody can harm me anything. Now your courage, And a person again, he thinking he can do me something. He can harm me. He can bring some bad thing to me. And he will be fearing everybody. He will be always fearing. And the person who knows, nobody can do any harm to me. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Ma asaba min musibatin illa bi'iznillah. No harm can come to me. They might try their best. Now your courage, your fearlessness, this cannot be measured. So because they don't know it, this is the truth that they don't know. That nothing can be done without the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. قُلْ لَنْ يُصِيبَنَا إِلَّا مَا كَتَبَ اللَّهُ لَنَا. In the next surah we shall read it. قُلْ لَنْ يُصِيبَنَا إِلَّا مَا كَتَبَ اللَّهُ لَنَا هُوَ مَوْلَانَا. Nothing can happen to us except that Allah, He has decided for us. And He is our protector, He is our friend. Whatever comes from Him, it's always welcome. Even if it is death, it's okay. It's actually the gateway to heaven, gateway to Jannah. قِيلَ ادْخُلِ الْجَنَّةِ قَالَ يَا لَيْتَ قَوْمِي يَعْلَمُونَ بِمَا غَفَرَ لِي رَبِّي وَجَعَلَنِي مِنَ الْمُكْرَمِينَ. And here, in the way of Allah, you enter directly to the heaven. You don't have to wait for the day of judgment. These shuhada who lay down their lives in the way of Allah, they go direct. They will not be waiting for the day of judgment to come. They go direct. So, what thing can terrorize a Muslim or a mu'min who is a true believer? الْآنَ خَفَّفَ اللَّهُ عَنْكُمْ. Now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has lightened it for you. وَعَلِمَ أَنَّ فِيكُمْ ضَعْفًا. And He knows that now a weakness has started within you. Why? In the early days of the Madani period, there were munafiqeen. But now, as time passed, this element started growing. So that was a sort of weakness. Because after all, they were legal Muslims. They were included as Muslims. I told you many a time that nowhere in the Quran the munafiqeen have been addressed as Ya ayyuhalladhina nafaqu. Ya ayyuhal munafiqun, you don't find these words. Because they were also legal Muslims. Whenever something is said to the munafiqeen, Ya ayyuhal ladhina amanu, these are the words. Because they also profess to believe. So actually, the depth of commitment of those people who came from Makkah, who had undergone all the hardships, who had passed so many examinations and tests and trials and tribulations, the depth of conviction with them, it is unimaginable. But the Ansar of Medina, because they had not passed through such tests and trials and tribulations, so that was not the case. They were not equal to the Muhajirin. So now, as time passes, taken collectively, the whole community, the average would go down. Although as-sabiqun al-awwalun, they remain at that level. They don't go down. But taken the community as a whole, the average will come down. That is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Al-ana khaffafa Allahu ankum wa alima anna fikum da'fa. He knows that there is a weakness among you. Wa in yakum minkum mi'atun sabiratun yaghlibu mi'atayn. If you are from you, there are 100 who are persevering, they will overcome 200. وَإِن يَكُن مِّنكُمْ أَلْفٌ يَغْلِبُ أَلْفَيْنِ. And if from you there are 1,000, they will overcome 2,000. Bi'idhnillah, with the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَاللَّهُ مَعَ الصَّابِرِينَ. And Allah is with the people who are persevering and who are steadfast. مَا قَالَ لِنَبِيٍّ أَن يَكُونَ لَهُ أَسْرَى. Now this is a very sensitive issue which is being discussed here. After the Muslims had won the battle of Badr, I told you 70 mushrikeen were killed. From among the Muslims only 14, 13 on the spot, and one was injured, and he died on way back to Medina. The total toll from Muslim side was 14. The Kuffar, Quraysh, 70. Another 70 were taken prisoners, captives. Now this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so to say, using the most, lenient words, He was displeased with it. You shouldn't have taken them captives. Because the power of kufr has not been broken up till now. If you have taken them captives, they will pay some ransom money and they'll go back. When they go back, they will again be able to come to fight against you. So actually there was a dispute. Because the Prophet ﷺ, he consulted his companions what we should do with them. His own inclination, because he was Rauf and Rahim. He was very lenient, very kind. To kill them, it was something against his nature. So he was inclined towards taking them captive and releasing them, taking some money and so on. Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala anhu agreed with him, yes, this we should do. But Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he was very much against it. No, we should kill them all. The strength of kufr is emaciated. It is broken. Their backs will be broken. And he went to the extent that whosoever is closest in relation to any mushrik captive from among the Muslims, he should assassinate with his own hands his closest relative who has come here, who came here to fight against the Muslims and who has been taken into captive. Later on it was decided, no, we shall keep them as captives and we shall accept the ransom money and then we shall set them free. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is declaring his displeasure over this decision. And this is one of those events about which it is said, Al-Haqqu yantiqu ala lisani Umar. Kana ra'yuhu muwafiqan bil wahyi wal kitab. Rather we should say, wahi ke muwafiqan bi ra'yihi. Kana al-wahyu muwafiqan bi ra'yihi. Wahi came in agreement with his opinion. So this is the special place, level of Hazrat Umar radiyallahu ta'ala. Al-Haqqu yantiqu ala lisani Umar. Ashadduhum fi amrillahi Umar. Ma kana li-nabiyyin an yakuna lahu asra. It's not befitting for a prophet that there should be captives for him. Hatta yuskhina fil ard. Until there is sound crushing and threshing of the kufr in the land. Turidun arad al-dunya. You intend to get the wealth of this world? Ransom money. That appears to be very attractive to you. Very harsh comments. It was actually not that the Prophet wanted some money or some wealth. It was out of mercy, out of leniency. That was the second nature of him. Twice in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has addressed him. Be harsh to these munafiqeen. Be harsh. You shouldn't be kind to these people. But because it was his nature, second nature as we call it. Ya ayyuhan nabiyyu jahidil kuffara wal munafiqina waghluz alayhim. You should not be lenient to these people. You should be harsh. You have to treat them with harshness. So that the back of kufr is broken. If you are lenient, they get some extension. They are fresh leaves of existence they are having due to your lenience. Hatta yuskhana fil turidun arad ad-dunya wallahu yuridu al-akhirah. Whereas Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala intends akhirah for you. Wallahu azizun hakim. And Allah is all powerful, almighty and all wise. Lawla kitabu min Allah sabaqa. Had it not been for the ordinance from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that had already gone before. And this refers to ayah number 4 of Surah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, which you find in the 26th part of the Musaf. There it was given an option that whenever the strength of the kufr has been broken, then you can keep captives. Now please ponder over it. Whether the back of kufr has been broken or not, it's a judgment. Maybe I think it has been broken. You think it has not been broken. If it has been broken according to my assessment, then we can have captives. If it is not broken up till now, according to your judgment, then you will say, no captives. Allah has not granted us to have captives before the back of the kufr has been broken thoroughly. So because this is the principle in ijtihad, al-mujtahid, al-mukhti, he also is rewarded. He cannot be punished. Al-mujtahid, al-musib, he gets the double reward. So it was taken to be an ijtihad of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and Abu Bakr radiyallahu anhu that actually the power of kufr has been broken. So now we can take the captives. But Allah disagreed with the ijtihad. But you can't punish anybody on ijtihad. When it was their sincere opinion, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only declared his disagreement with ijtihad. You can differ from a mujtahid in his judgment, no doubt. But ijtihad, which has been done most sincerely, earnestly, even if it is wrong, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rewards for it. So that is the case. Lawla kitabu min Allah sabaqa. This option had been given to you from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala already in ayah number 4 of Surah Muhammad. If that had not happened, lamassakum fima akhastum azabun ateem. Then what you have taken from them, on that very mighty chastisement, a very mighty punishment would have come to you. Very stern warning. فَكُلُوا مِمَّا غَنِمْتُمْ حَلَالًا طَيِّبًا. So now you eat from whatever you have from the spoils of the war. Now what has been happened to the spoils of the war? The spoils, all the things that they had at the battlefield. And now the spoils coming out of the ransom money of these captives. This is added to those spoils. فَكُلُوا مِمَّا غَنِمْتُمْ. Although Allah declared his disagreement with this decision, but because it was an ijtihad and the option was given by him, so now whatever you have got, you can eat it, you can use it, you can consume it. Halalan tayyiba. It is permissible for you, it is good for you. Wattaqullaha innallaha ghafurur rahim. Have taqwa of Allah. And verily Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is forgiving and merciful. Ya ayyuhan nabiyyu qul liman fi aydikum min al-asra. O Prophet, say to these people who are in your hands from among the captives, in ya'lamillahu fi qulubikum khairan. If Allah knows and if Allah finds that within your hearts there is some good, yu'tikum khairan mimma ukhiza minkum. He will give you better and more than what has been taken from you. Now please keep one point in mind. Some of the people of Quraysh who had come to fight against the Muslims at Badr, they were forced to do it. because of the tribal system. They didn't want to go to war against the Muslims. There could be someone who had hidden in their hearts the Iman, the faith also. But because they had not declared it there, had they declared it, they would have to make the migration, the hijrah. So because they were not so much motivated by Iman, that they were ready to leave their homes and hearts and the land of their ancestors, where the ancestors were lying buried, the depth of conviction was not up to that level. So they remained at Makkah. When they remained at Makkah, they had to come under the tribal system. Now because the tribe is going to fight against somebody, some enemy, you have to go. And according to some traditions, perhaps Hazrat Abbas, the uncle of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, was also among them. So, as there could be others also. So, now, if Allah knows that in your hearts there is something good, but because you have not up till now declared your Iman, you came to fight the Muslims along with the kuffar, so law will take its course. You will be treated at par with the unbeliever captives, and you will have to pay the ransom. But Allah will reward you, Allah will repay you in His own ways. He will compensate. Ya ayyuhan nabiyyu qul liman fi aydikum min al-asra in ya'lamillahu fi qulubikum khairan yu'tikum khairan mimma ukhidha minkum. Well, His prayers are very vast. He can compensate to you in many other forms. Wa yaghfir lakum, and He will forgive you. Wallahu ghafurur rahim, and Allah is forgiving, merciful. Wa in yuridu khiyanataka, and if somebody now says that I am Muslim, I came only because I was forced to come here, so please forgive me and let me go scot-free. وَإِن يُرِيدُوا خِيَانَتَكَ فَقَدْ خَانُوا اللَّهَ مِنْ قَبْلِ. They have committed, treachery with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also. If somebody is making treachery, he is treacherous in his behavior. فَأَمْكَنَ مِنْكُمْ, so Allah has given you power over them. وَاللَّهُ عَلِيمٌ حَكِيمٌ, and verily He is all-knowing, all-wise. إن الذين آمنوا وهاجروا وجاهدوا بأموالهم وأنفسهم في سبيل الله والذين آووا ونصروا أولئك بعضهم أولياء بعض. Verily and certainly those who came to believe, وهاجروا, and who migrated, وجاهدوا بأموالهم وأنفسهم في سبيل الله, and they strived in the way of Allah to their utmost, with their belongings and their lives. وَالَّذِينَ آوَوْا وَنَصَرُوا, and those who gave them refuge and helped them. Now the Muslim society up till that time, it was composed of two distinct parts at Medina, Muhajirin and the Ansar of Medina. And although Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam had made them brothers, one from the Muhajirin, the other from Ansar, and they were declared as brothers. And they divided their homes, they divided their shops. Even, one Ansari, he took his Muhajir brother to his house. He had two wives. He said, you select which one you like, because the commandments about hijab, they have not been revealed up till now. They were going to be revealed several years later in Surah An-Nur and Surah Al-Ahzab. There was no wheeling and all these things, segregation, etc. It was a mixed society. So he took the brother to the home. I have two wives. You select. I will divorce her so that you can marry her. Because the Prophet has declared that you are my brother. And I can't, bear that you live without a wife, and I have two wives with me. So that was the bond of friendship. But still, these were the two distinctly separate sections of this society. And Quran is also mentioned separately. And here, the level is different. Because those people who had migrated, left their families and homes and everything behind, they were definitely at a very high level regarding the depth of commitment, regarding their love for Allah. And actually, before the Battle of Badr, the 8 expeditions, which I shall explain inshallah when I go into details of Ghazwa Badr, the Prophet sent only the Muhajirin in 8 expeditions. Badr was the first expedition in which Ansar were also included. They were never asked to go out to fight in the way of Allah. All the 8 expeditions, 4 of them saraya, in which the Prophet didn't go himself, only some groups were sent. And 4 of them ghazawat, in which the Prophet also participated. But in all 8 of them, no Ansari from Medina was included. So that is why these words are coming for the Muhajirs here. Inna allazina amanu wa hajaru wa jahadu bi amwalihim wa anfusihim fi sabilillah. Up till now only they were striving and they were fighting for the cause of Allah, going out, to meet the enemy. But allazina awaw wa nasaru. Now the second section is who gave them the refuge, who accommodated them in their homes and businesses, etc., etc. And they were the Ansar. They helped them. Ba'duhum awliya ba'd. Now they are friends to each other. They are protectors of each other. وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَلَّمْ يُهَاجِرُوا مَا لَكُمْ مِنْ وَلَايَةٍ مِنْ شَيْءٍ. And as for those who had Iman, who said the Shahada, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah, they became Muslim, but they didn't immigrate. They didn't come. We have read these things in much detail in Surah An-Nisa. This discussion, this subject has been discussed. But Surah An-Nisa was going to be revealed several years later after this surah. This, as I told you, was revealed in the 2nd year after Hijrah, just after the Battle of Badr. Surah An-Nisa, that was either in the 5th or the 6th year after Hijrah. So here is the first pronouncement regarding this. وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَلَمْ يُهَاجِرُوا مَا لَكُمْ مِنْ وَلَايَتِهِمْ مِنْ شَيْءٍ. Those of you who come to believe, who accept the faith, but they don't immigrate to Medina, you are not responsible for their protection in anything until they immigrate. وَإِنِ اسْتَنْصَرُوكُمْ فِي الدِّينِ فَعَلَيْكُمُ النَّصْرُ. But if they ask for your help, it's incumbent upon you that you help them. But there is an exception. إِلَّا عَلَىٰ قَوْمٍ بَيْنَكُمْ وَبَيْنَهُمْ مِيثَاقٌ. Except against the nation or tribe with whom you have a treaty. For example, there are some Muslims in some tribe. They are being persecuted. They call the Muslims to help. Now there are 2 conditions possible. If this tribe has no treaty with Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or the Muhammad has not concluded any treaty with this tribe, then you can take an action helping the Muslims of that tribe. But if you have a treaty with that tribe, now you are barred from it. Now you can't help. Although they are Muslims, although they want your help, although they are asking for your help. But because they have not immigrated, why have they stayed back? When they have stayed back, they have not immigrated, they lose the right that they must be protected. Okay, if the tribe has no treaty, actually, then the help can be given, but not if you have a treaty with them. وَإِنِ اسْتَنْصَرُوكُمْ فِي الدِّينِ فَعَلَيْكُمُ النَّصْرُ إِلَّا عَلَىٰ قَوْمٍ بَيْنَكُمْ وَبَيْنَهُمْ مِيثَاقٌ وَاللَّهُ بِمَا تَعْمَلُونَ بَصِيرٌ. And whatever you are doing, Allah is seeing it. وَالَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا بَعْضُهُمْ أَوْلِيَاءُ بَعْضٍ. As for those who have rejected the faith, who have suppressed the testimony of their souls and belied what Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was conveying to them, بَعْضُهُمْ أَوْلِيَاءُ, they are friends and protectors to each other. إِلَّا تَفْعَلُوهُ تَكُنْ فِتْنَةٌ فِي الْأَرْضِ وَفَسَادٌ كَبِيرٌ. If you don't do this, there will be much disturbance in the land. What does it mean? If you ignore the treaty and go to help the Muslims of that tribe, while you had the treaty with the tribe, it is going to disturb the things. The system has to be kept. If you have made a treaty, you can't help the Muslims over there. You have to do it. Now this ayah, last but one. But this completes the definition of a true mu'min. وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَهَاجَرُوا وَجَاهَدُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ وَالَّذِينَ آوَوا وَنَصَرُوا أُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ حَقًّا لَهُمْ مَغْفِرَةٌ وَرِزْقٌ كَرِيمٌ. And those who accepted the faith, who responded positively to the call of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and then they immigrated. They left their homes and hearts and the land of their ancestors. وَجَاهَدُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. And they strived in the way of Allah. وَالَّذِينَ آوَوا وَنَصَرُوا. And those who gave them refuge and they helped them. أُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ حَقًّا. They are the true mu'mins. لَهُمْ مَغْفِرَةٌ وَرِزْقٌ كَرِيمٌ. For them is the maghfirah, the pardoning, the forgiving, and a very honorable provision in the hereafter. Now you refer to the ayah number 2 and 3. Ayah number 2 and 3 of this surah. إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ الَّذِينَ إِذَا ذُكِرَ اللَّهُ وَجِلَتْ قُلُوبُهُمْ وَإِذَا تُلِيَتْ عَلَيْهِمْ آيَاتُهُ زَادَتْهُمْ إِيمَانًا وَعَلَى رَبِّهِمْ يَتَوَكَّلُونَ الَّذِينَ يُقِيمُونَ الصَّلَاةَ وَمِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ يُنْفِقُونَ أُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ حَقًّا لَهُمْ دَرَجَاتٌ عِندَ رَبِّهِمْ وَمَغْفِرَةٌ وَرِزْقٌ كَرِيمٌ وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَهَاجَرُوا وَجَاهَدُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ وَالَّذِينَ آوَوا وَنَصَرُوا أُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ حَقًّا لَهُمْ مَغْفِرَةٌ وَرِزْقٌ كَرِيمٌ. And this is to which I was referring as 3 dimensions of the personality of Mu'min. One is the internal, esoteric element. Iman, khashiyah, fear of Allah, fear of standing before Him on the day of judgment. Amma man khafa maqama rabbihi wa nahan nafsa anil hawa. When Allah is remembered or mentioned, their hearts tremble. And when the ayat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are recited unto them, this increases them in faith. Their level of yaqeen and their level of conviction increases. So that is one aspect. The second aspect and the third, they are outside, outward behavior. But one outward behavior is وَيُقِيمُ الصَّلَاةَ وَمِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ يُنْفِقُونَ, establishing the prayer. And they are spending whatever we have provided them with. They are spending for the cause of Allah, for making the deen of Allah supreme, for spreading the message of Allah. This is one. And the other, obvious, external side, the third dimension, وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَهَاجَرُوا وَجَاهَدُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ وَالَّذِينَ آوَوا وَنَصَرُوا أُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ حَقًّا. So these are the 3 dimensions of the personality of a mu'min. And if you want one ayah embracing all them, that is the ayah number 14 of Surah Al-Hujurat. In ayah number 13 in Surah Al-Hujurat, a distinction is made between Muslim and Mu'min. قالت الأعراب آمنا قل لم تؤمنوا ولكن قولوا أسلمنا ولما يدخل الإيمان في قلوبكم. These Bedouins are claiming that we have come to believe. Tell them, O Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you have not at all come to believe. Don't be mistaken. Only what you can say is that you have become Muslims. You have submitted. You have surrendered. And the true faith, true iman, لما يدخل الإيمان في قلوبكم, has not as yet entered your hearts. Now with this background, a comprehensive definition of a mu'min comes in the next ayah, ayah number 15 of Surah Al-Hujurat. إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا بِاللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ ثُمَّ لَمْ يَرْتَابُوا. This is the internal. They have the conviction, not only profession, not only saying with the tongue. Then they have no doubt. They believe in Allah and His Messenger, and they have no doubts about it. وَجَاهَدُوا بِأَمْوَالِهِمْ وَأَنفُسِهِمْ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. And the second, and they strive hard in the way of Allah with their belongings and life. So a comprehensive, إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا بِاللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ ثُمَّ لَمْ يَرْتَابُوا وَجَاهَدُوا بِأَمْوَالِهِمْ وَأَنفُسِهِمْ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ أُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الصَّادِقُونَ. Only such people are true if they claim to be true believers, real believers. Here we find one part of it in the very beginning, the other part of it at the end. In the beginning also, first ayah was something else. يَسَأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الْأَنْفَالِ, a legal question. In the same way, the last ayah of this surah is also something relating to a legal point. There was also second and third ayah, and here also last but one. وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مِن بَعْدُ وَهَاجَرُوا وَجَاهَدُوا مَعَهُمْ فَأُولَٰئِكَ مِنْهُمْ. Whosoever now will believe after that. This was the beginning of the Muslim society at Medina, comprising of 2 parts. وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَهَاجَرُوا وَجَاهَدُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ وَالَّذِينَ آوَوا وَنَصَرُوا. Now later on, who are now believing, later on, till the end of this world, this ayah will cover forever. وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مِن بَعْدُ وَهَاجَرُوا. And now whosoever will come to believe after that, and if they also make hijrah, وَجَاهَدُوا مَعَكُمْ, and if they also strive hard for the cause of Allah with you, فَأُولَٰئِكَ مِنْكُمْ. They will be a part and parcel of your own society. They will also become a part and parcel. They will be from you. But وَأُولُو الْأَرْحَامِ بَعْضُهُمْ أَوْلَىٰ بِبَعْضٍ. The blood relations will remain nearer to each other. This relation of Iman is not going to cover the law, Islamic law. Inheritance won't go to a brother whom the Prophet declared to be a brother. Of an Ansari, a Muhajir is a brother, but inheritance won't go to him. That is the legal issue. Yeah, they are brothers, you are brothers, you must love each other more than the real brothers. But the law will take the precedence. And وَأُولُو الْأَرْحَامِ بَعْضُكُمْ وَأَوْلَىٰ بِبَعْضٍ فِي كِتَابِ اللَّهِ. And this word kitab usually comes in Quran for the legal structure of Islam. Kutiba alaykum, kutiba alaykum. Kitaban, hatta yablugha al-kitabu ajalah. So all these words, in different places, kitab mostly refers to the legal teachings of Quran. As regards the legal structure, ulul arham ba'dhum awla bi ba'dhin. Now these relatives, they are closer to each other. These blood relations, the womb relation of the wombs of the mothers. You are brothers because you are born of the same mother. But you are brothers because you are also Muslim, he is also Muslim. You are a Muhajir and he is a Ansari. But this brothership is something else. That brothership is something else. وَأُولُو الْأَرْحَامِ بَعْضُهُمْ أَوْلَىٰ بِبَعْضٍ فِي كِتَابِ اللَّهِ إِنَّ اللَّهَ بِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ عَلِيمٌ. Verily Allah knows everything. He is aware of everything. بارك الله لي ولكم في القرآن العظيم ونفعني وإياكم بالآيات والذكر الحكيم.